Hi there. It's your second favorite DP right here, okay? No, that's Deadpool, you silly little Hufflepuff. Anyways, I'm gonna need you to shut up that pretty little mouth of yours and pay attention because the show's about to start, alright? And, I don't know about you, but I know who's my vote for sexiest ex-soldier turned pop culture show host. Alright, enough foreplay. Let's get on with the show.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Everybody, welcome back. It is October 18th, 2022, and this is episode 112 of Pop Culture Warrior. It's the show where I stay up to date on all the ins and outs of what's happening in pop culture so you don't have to. I'm CQ. That's what the little box says. I'm your Pop Culture Warrior, and with me, as always, is he's a guy that, like, if he ever died, we'd absolutely use CGI to replace him. He's the man in the bubble. He's the voice of the unpop cultured. Ladies and gentlemen, say hi to Mr. Radar. Say hi,
Hey, hey, everybody.
Say hi, Radar.
Don't use fucking no CGI on me. That sounds dumb as shit. Don't ever waste your time and effort on that. Fuck that.
I'm gonna need you to slide a pinch to your right.
My right or your right?
Your right. There you go, right there. That would be dead center.
Oh, my microphone's over there.
So I would move your microphone then. Somebody's been messing with your stuff. Anyway, big shout out. What is going on, everybody? How y'all doing? I already see Jim in the chats. What else? Rob, what's going on, man? Josiah is the sign up roster going around. That's right. Let us know you're here. Hey, Mike. Hey, Heath. What is going on with y'all tonight? Appreciate all y'all. I didn't get
all
a notification.
I appreciate all y'all.
I appreciate all y'all. Scott, what's good, man? Greg, Pookie. Oh, Pookie's hanging out in the chats
Pooks
too.
Is here. What's up?
Fucking Pookie.
Is he still? Did Cos ever get him a bubble yet?
Me and Pookie had a conversation. We'll talk about that.
Bubble?
But yeah, about the bubble and how he refuses to be in a bubble. So that's okay.
Oh.
His loss.
That's fine.
I
heard he's gonna come up to my place and look for some grizzly bears.
That's fair. That's a solid possibility. So, oh man, we got so much to talk about. We weren't here last week. What was going? Oh, I was speaking at the gala. I was speaking at the gala.
How was your
last
gala?
week.
How was
the
your
gala? It was great.
Nice.
It was great. We got so many things to talk about tonight. Before I forget, we do have an interview. It is a pre-recorded interview. I always like to be upfront with you guys. I never like to pretend or lie. It's a pre-recorded interview. It is a phenomenal interview. Having been part of it, I can tell you it's a great interview. Phenomenal voice actress. I mean, she's a comedian. She's an actress. She's a voice actress. She was radio. She worked in radio. It's super, super interesting story. Has dubbed for anime. So if you're into anime, she's dubbed for like 800 of them, as well as regular cartoons, including My Little Pony. She's a pretty popular character on My Little Pony. So there's lots to talk about. That's Cathy Weseluck. Weseluck. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it correctly. But anyway, great interview later tonight. We'll play that for you. What else? Oh man, there's so many things to catch up on in the last 2 weeks we've been gone. So where to start? Okay. New York Comic Con. So it wasn't this past weekend. It was the weekend previously. I got to go. I
Yes. How was
took
it?
I took a fan of the show. So I know Pete's out there tonight. He's watching tonight. I got to take Pete, big fan of the show, and we went and we had a blast. Also, Nemo was with me. Everybody knows Nemo. He's my social media guru, and we had a blast. We did so much. I can't honestly cover it all. Um, I will tell you a couple of the key bits is if you guys are on TikTok a lot and you're into the movie side and content side as I am, you probably know Straw Hat Goofy,
Mhm.
great movie reviewer, great content creator. It's the craziest thing. I was talking to Nemo right as we were about to go in and we're like, okay, we need to do this, we need to do this, we're gonna talk to these people, blah. And Nemo's like, hey, I know Straw Hat Goofy's here, man. We should try to find him and hook up with him, like, talk to him and let him know. And I'm like, dude, it's not like he was just wandering around shooting content. So it's not like he's at a booth with a
Right.
time where we could find him. I'm like, it's a needle, it's like 100,000 people. There's no possible way we're just gonna randomly run across him. I shit you not. We walk in the doors, turn left, go up these stairs, and run right into him. He's standing at the top of the stairs, and he's just chilling. I guess he was getting stuff ready, and we're like, and he was like, "Dude, there he is." I'm like, "There's no way. There's no way that just happened." But we did get to meet him. We talked to him for a few minutes. Great, great, great guy. Gave me his email, and so we're gonna he's crazy busy, crazy busy. In fact, I
Mhm.
think right now he's on a flight internationally. So, but we're gonna try to get him on the show at some point in the future, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. So we did
That's
that.
fucking cool. That's awesome.
We Yeah, you probably can't notice over my shoulder. I just have a bunch. I grabbed so much shit while we were at the con. You maybe can or cannot notice, but also added a couple pieces to the collection in the background. Grabbed a bunch of swag. I mean, the amount of stuff I have now to give away has doubled. So there's
Get some more
that.
giveaways.
We got to do more giveaways because
Yes.
there was that. There was a bunch of celebs there, obviously doing autographs and photos.
Mhm.
So I got to talk to quite a few of them, including we got to meet two different Supermen. So Tyler Hoechlin, who's the current Superman on the Superman and Lois, and then we talked to Tom Welling, who's Smallville Superman, the first TV Superman. And so we talked to them. We talked to Oh my God. I talked to two of the voices of SpongeBob. So SpongeBob and the guy that voices Squidward. We talked to them. We talked to a bunch of comic creators. Bob Camp, who, come on, who doesn't remember Ren and Stimpy? So Bob Camp
Right.
is the creator of Ren and Stimpy, one of the creators of Ren and Stimpy. And so we talked to him, and he's got a big military family. So definitely wants to come on the show. So we reached out to him and hopefully get him on. I mean, it was just nonstop, nonstop. Mick Foley, the wrestler, legendary wrestler, we was there. We talked to him. Just a bunch of people we talked to. And then like I said, we had Pete, and I said, I want to make this memorable for you. So my thing was like, hey, what's the one thing you want to do? I want to make sure that if nothing else, we do that one thing. And he's a big Cobra Kai fan, and the guy that plays John Kreese or Sensei Kreese, the bad guy in Cobra Kai,
Yeah.
was there. He was doing signings and autographs and pictures and whatnot. So he's like, that's the one thing. And I was like, hey, if that's the one thing, we're gonna make it happen. And so we pulled some strings, and I posted it up on the Facebook and the Twitters and all that. But we got to take a picture with him, and even threw in this wonderful signed piece. So that'll be probably going into the giveaway pile. If you're a big Cobra Kai fan, got a signed piece by Sensei Kreese. Cobra Kai never die. Whatever the hell it is. So yeah, so that was cool. What else? What else? What else? And I'm
He said, "Oh,
yeah. There was one other thing. One other thing that I've always wanted to get, but I haven't done it yet. So
mhm. What's that?" Oh no,
yes.
that looks like a.
Sorry.
I'll be sorry. That thing's pretty badass, dude.
This
Don't
is
worry about
pretty damn cool. This company makes these licensed, or no, I guess they're not real. Are they licensed? Oh, they say I don't know they're licensed, but pretty cool lightsabers, and really badass. And now they go in for the hundreds, hundreds of dollars. I might know somebody who spent one. But they also had a really cool thing where you could do like a mystery box. So I paid $50. And let me say, this thing is heavy duty, and it's meant to last. I think I just put a dent in my wall. So yeah, it was pretty cool. So I didn't get to pick what it was, the color or anything. It's just it was just like a cool random thing, and I said I always wanted to do something, so it is what it is. I got it. What else? Oh my God, there was just so much. There was so much coming out of that, but I think that's everything there. And then the very next week, this past weekend, we went to WasabiCon. WTF Nation Radio made its first public con appearance at WasabiCon in Jacksonville, Florida. For those that don't know, WasabiCon is a premier convention.
It's spicy. It's spicy.
It's a premier convention aimed at anime, at art, at tabletop gaming. A lot of that stuff is front and center. Cosplay was a big element of it. It was a blast. It was myself and Pookie were there, and we had a really great time. Blown away that we actually had people that are like, "Oh my God, we're fans. We watched the show." Actually, come up to us.
Oh my God, you guys aren't bad.
It was for the first time ever. I had someone actually come up and ask for my autograph. That's an actual thing that happened. I didn't understand it. I still don't understand it. And also, the fuck do I sign CQ? CQ. There you go. There's the
Wait,
autograph.
so a person came up to you, recognized who you were.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of the hat.
It's the hat, maybe.
The hat.
Or it was the giant tablecloth that said WTF Nation Radio and U.S. Army WTF Moments on it as well. That kind of could do it too. Josiah says he saw pics of us and the other cosplayer. Yeah, man, it was great. It was great. It was a great time. What else? So from WasabiCon, again, a bunch of stuff to add to kind of the giveaway pile. There's a bunch of free raffles. I entered a raffle. Won a I guess this is like a dice card game, I guess.
Well, if it's dice, it's not cards.
Well, it's like a mix of dice and the card, I think. Yeah. Yep. Right. There's cards and dice. So it's a dice/card game. So that'll be given away if you're a tabletop kind of gamer, that'll go in a box for you. And then if you're like a trading card gamer, like a Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, they had this booth called Nostalgics. Nostalgics, look at this. Look at the amount of packs that they gave me to give away from the company Nostalgics. And it was created during the pandemic.
They gave them to me to give away.
Yeah, they gave them to me to give away. They did. He gave me 2 packs. He gave me 2 packs, and then I was like, "Yeah, this is cool. I'll give it away on my show." He's like, "Oh, you can give it away on your show?" I was like, "Yeah." And they gave me all the rest of them. They gave me a bunch more. And it's made from a guy who grew up loving Magic and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. So much like the name Nostalgics, it's very similar to those games and very cool. I was talking to the creator of the thing. I might have them come on just to talk about the game because it's actually a pretty cool game. I got to watch people play. So WasabiCon was awesome. Huh?
What's it called?
Nostalgics.
Nostalgics.
Yeah, like nostalgia, but GIX.
Like the jigs. Yeah.
With the jigs at the end.
Yeah.
And you'll notice these cards to give away are boosters, first edition booster base set, booster packs. So, could be worth apparently. And this is if you believe what you've been told. Apparently, like one of the cards, which is like a 1 in like 777 chance of getting this card, the Lucky Frog, is valued at like $10,000. Like it's people sell them online for like 10 grand. So
allegedly,
I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I was told.
Allegedly.
And I know somebody opened a pack near me and just fucking lost their goddamn minds. So I'm assuming they got one of them. I don't know. Yeah, and Pookie actually got one of the cards signed by the creator. I was gonna open a pack and have them sign it too, but I was like, I don't want to open it. That's the whole point, is to give it away. And then what else? The last thing from WasabiCon. What was the other thing I was gonna talk about? There was some anime voices, so we're gonna try to get some of them on the show. This is
We've
pretty
had a
cool.
lot of, and I'm not talking shit about this. We've
Yeah.
had a lot of voice actors on,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
good
yeah.
because I mean, I don't know, they're fun.
Yeah, I think they
get
have
to finally
interesting stories.
You hear voices, you hear their voices, and you don't get to put a face to them.
Yeah.
Now we're doing that.
Yeah.
So it's
And
great.
typically these are people that they're not on Entertainment Tonight and Good
No.
Morning America, and they don't do a lot of interviews. So I always feel like they really have good stories to tell, and they're not.
Yeah, so they really
jaded by
enjoy
the
coming on with
process.
us because we're like the only people that like hit them up.
Something like that. For when we do game nights, I secured a bunch of game codes. So now I actually have prizes I can give away to winners. Like if you win one of our game nights, I can send you a Steam code to download a PC game free of charge as a congrats for winning prize, for winning the show and things like that. So now I have stuff to give away during the live gaming segments. They're just so much. We talked to a promoter who is he runs like the largest wrestling convention in Florida, and is in we're gonna continue conversations, but basically offered us a booth. So we're gonna be at this wrestling convention, and I don't know if that's something that you guys would be interested in, or if that's
I don't
something.
want to go.
Yeah, if that's something that we could live stream from or do something, but yeah, that'd be cool. Like it's a pretty big wrestling convention. They bring in all the legends. Like last year they had like Bret Hart and a bunch of like big names coming out and doing stuff, and like they put like a ring in the middle of the convention and everything. So it's a pretty cool Stan says that's huge in Florida. Yeah, that's right.
Florida man like wrestling.
Florida man like wrestling. Yeah, so there's you guys are awesome. So yeah, so needless to say, there's been just so much that's happened over the last few weeks. I mean, I'm exhausted, but also like feeling very content that we got out there. We got our name out, and we did some cool stuff. And
I know. I kind of wish I went.
yeah, it was a good time. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Poor Pookie, God bless him, man. Send some love to Pookie because his flight got delayed on the way in, and his flight got delayed on the way out. And not the kind of delay where like, oh, it's an hour. Like the kind of delay where he had to sleep overnight somewhere he shouldn't have.
Yeah, he was like on a bench, like fucking.
He was homeless. He was homeless for the night, coming and going. Poor.
Because I'm glad I didn't go, because I'd probably still fucking be there. I'd still be stuck in some shit.
Oh man. Hey, and TJ's in the chat. So what's up, TJ? TJ was our man on the scene there at WasabiCon. We were just talking about it, man. It was such a good time. TJ took such good care of us, and really runs a tight ship down there at WasabiCon. Although, funny story, and I don't know if TJ knows this. At one point, this guy comes up to the booth and he's like, "Hey, how's it going? Whatever." And now at that point, it had kind of quieted down in the area we were in. So like me and Pookie were just playing like a board game to pass the time. Like we had gotten a board game, like it was called Hive, and we were playing it. This guy walks up and he's like, "Oh, how's it going? Whatever." I say, "Oh yeah, it was good." And he's like, "So what do you think of the con?" And I'm an honest person. I tell you what I think. I don't BS. I kind of tell you what I think. And so I told him, hey, I'm having a great time. It was good. So there's some things, like if I was running it, I would do it a little differently, or some things that lessons learned for next time. If we do it, we need to do this, and this. And he goes, "Huh, really?" I say, yeah. And halfway through my little rant and spiel, he informs me that he runs WasabiCon, and he's the guy, he's the creator of the show and runs the whole show. And I was like, well, take it for what it's worth, man. Like, you wanted my feedback.
I'll take it for what it's worth. I'm bad at this. And you run it, I don't. So
I was like, hey, man, take it for what it is. You wanted feedback, I gave you feedback. So
yeah, you want me to bullshit you? I'll do that next time. But I thought you wanted me to be honest with you. So
yeah, it was.
So here I am, foot in mouth.
Yep.
Being
Yep.
honest with you.
Yep.
But
It's all
I mean,
good though.
he probably actually in all reality enjoyed the candor there.
Yeah. I mean, I
A
don't.
lot, a lot of those
I
guys
just
do.
I don't feel like it doesn't solve anything to BS or pretend something is what it is and when it isn't. I'm just gonna be real with it. What else, man? There was so much. Hey, oh, there won't be a show next week. I know I'm in and out. There's reasons. There's things happening in the background. I can't talk about just yet, but I'm gonna be talking about soon. Next week, I'm gonna be performing comedy at the National Press Club in DC. Huge venue, world renowned. A lot of very famous people have spoken there, and I'm gonna tell dick jokes. So that's what I'll be doing
Hey,
next Tuesday.
there's nothing wrong with dick jokes.
There's nothing wrong with dick jokes.
No.
So yes, there won't be a show next week, but the following Tuesday, which will be November 1st, i.e., the day after Halloween, we will do our big Halloween spectacular. I need you guys to submit Halloween pictures. This is perfect because it'll take place after Halloween. You should have pictures of yourselves in your costumes from the previous, whatever, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whenever you guys do your Halloween stuff. But we're definitely going to do the Halloween stuff. I now have stuff to give away. I have a ton of stuff to give away. So we'll do prizes like we usually do. And we'll vote live. I haven't decided. Radar, what do you think? Or audience, what do you think? Like the last 2 years, you send in pictures and we look at them and we kind of vote on it. We have the ability now with the tech that we're using to have people kind of more or less, it's like FaceTime, but to FaceTime from your phone, and you could be in your costume and we could do kind of like a live. I don't know. What do you think? Is that too much? Is that too much? I feel like that's too much. Maybe it's too much. Much too
I
much.
guess that's a little too much.
A little too much. All right. Okay. Whatever. So
I mean, not trying to be shitty about it. I just feel like that's a little bit too much.
it's fine. It's fine. It's probably much. It's probably much.
Because
But anyway,
and I'm saying this because I love you, as a brother. I love you. But we're inviting a lot of gremlins into our tech.
you know me.
And
I always like to push it to
basically
the.
being held together with fucking electrical tape and prayers right now.
You know me. I like to take it to the
You
extreme.
like to push the
I like
envelope.
to push the envelope. Yeah.
Yeah. Right now the envelope is been licked too many times.
It's been licked one too many times. So anyway, yes, take pictures of yourselves in costume for Halloween.
In costume with your dick put away.
With all your bits and pieces covered, and then send it to us so we can live vote on it in the show, and give some cool prizes or something. I don't know. It's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Let's see. What else? So that's that. So no show next week. Following week's the Halloween show, so don't miss it. Are you finally ready to get some actual pop culture news?
Is there? What has happened even?
Oh, I have things. Well, I'm. Have you seen the end of She-Hulk? Because I'm sure you have things to say about it.
Oh, me?
Well, yeah. Do you have?
It was all right. All right.
All right, moving on.
Okay, no. Okay, I just. I'm torn. I'm so torn. I'm very torn.
You're torn. Okay.
I really, really, really like it, but I also fucking hated it. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Like
Sure.
I really liked
Sure.
the whole that if you haven't seen it yet, it's been a fucking week. You're asked to get out of luck.
Yeah.
Unless you want to put your
pretty much.
spoiler thing on and the radar rant 2 thing, something to go off.
Okay, hang on a second. Let's see. Spoilers for She-Hulk, and go ahead and rant.
All right, so the ending started out pretty good, very typical, and then she's just like fuck this, and then she changed everything because she fucking wants to change it, right? She's gonna fucking bust through my fucking TV onto my home screen and go fucking talk to Kevin, who's not actually Kevin, but is an actual fucking robot, which is probably funnier than Kevin Feige to begin with. Really? And then she's just gonna fucking get her own way and it's over? Like, come on. Like, I really like the giant departure. We talk about these shows and how it's a departure from the movies
Mhm.
and how they can work on character development and how they can work on these relationships with between characters and stuff. I love the Daredevil Walk of Shame we didn't get to talk about. Great. All these things were great, but it felt like they were building up the stuff and then it just stopped and then she kind of erased that. Does that make sense? Like they were
Mhm.
building up for Todd to be a fucking bad guy and then he's like, "Nah, you're going to jail."
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
it just felt like there needed to be more nefariousness there at the end of it. That's the way it
So
felt like to me, but I really did like how it was such a big it was a very much a not it was a surprise. The ending was a surprise.
yeah, you definitely couldn't have seen that coming.
No one saw
None.
that
I will say that I'm gonna turn off your rant. Um, I will say, yeah, it was a departure from everything, and it's like I didn't like it because there was no big third act finales. Okay, watch any of the other shows or
right.
any of the other movies. Like that's the whole. This was a meta social commentary on, hey, every show is the same. You know, it always ends with the big third act. Every storyline merges and it's a big blow up fight and whatever. And they're like, we're just not going to do that. We're just not going to do that. We're just going to do
Right.
something else.
And I appreciate that.
Mhm.
But so
But you got a little show blue balls. Like
basically,
yeah, yeah.
and then I mean, we had the introduction of Shulk or whatever the fuck the kid's name was. What's the
Scar.
kid? Scar.
Hmm.
Skulk. Anyway,
I mean, he kind of
and it
skulked.
just kind of was like it just whoop, oh, there we go. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you could have not had that. You could even had the thing, but elaborated on some other like I felt like very
Yeah.
all of these other and we know that and not just the big third act final fight, whatever, but all of these shows
Mhm.
since Endgame have been introducing characters or building onto the next phases of the MCU.
Mhm.
Other than the introduction of Scar and She-Hulk, we really didn't get that a whole lot
Uh, I,
outwardly,
I mean, bringing back Daredevil officially
officially. But I mean,
in costume.
and
You
I
know.
don't hate that. But what I
Mhm.
mean, but is that really?
The first
Do you see what I
superhero
mean?
smash, like on camera smash, you know. Well, I
Yeah,
guess that was like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage did the nasty, I think, in one of
yeah,
their
but
shows.
like, that wasn't. That's not MCU.
Yeah, um, yeah. So let me just say my piece, and I like the show for what it is, and I'm fine with it. I wouldn't change a thing. My whole thing
Mhm.
with all this is and I just had this conversation with somebody about. I feel like like the show's fine. The show's fine, whatever. But
Yeah.
then they lay these teases
Mhm.
for something way bigger and way more interesting. So like Scar, like that whole Hulk subplot line that nobody knows what happened. The Matt Murdock stuff and the Daredevil stuff. Like they lay these pieces that are almost overshadowing the main story because it's like, well, that's more interesting, but we don't get that. And the post credit teases and all these things. And this isn't just She-Hulk. I'm talking all movies, all shows in that superhero genre are kind of doing this now, where the tease at the end or the teases within tend to be more interesting than what we got for the show. And then, to caveat, eventually when that tease pays off, it's always a letdown.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it's this, like trying to think of a really good example, but oh, like the Thanos, oh, fine, I'll do it myself when he grabs the gauntlet. And then we don't see him do anything, like that was a cool moment. but then it was not until Endgame that we even really or Infinity War that we even see him do anything.
Right.
But there's all these examples of like these little teases where you're like, oh, oh shit, that's now that I want to see to get you hype, but then that thing never actually happens or pays off in any
Right.
way. Yeah.
I guess I don't know, dude. Like we know all these things are coming,
Yeah.
right? We know all this stuff is coming, and it's just kind of I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
it's just that they need to quit building and start having results.
Yeah, but I think also too, I think it stems from, like when you have an idea of something, it's never going, or it's always going to be better than whatever it is in reality, right? Like when you're like, oh, I'm craving my favorite chocolate or whatever it is, and then you bite into it and you're like, oh, it's not as good as I remember. I feel like with the teasers, that's what it's always is, because it just, here's a morsel, here's a taste, and your mind runs, oh my God, they can, this could do this, and they can do this, and blah, blah, and Mephisto and X-Men, and like all these things. And then when they finally do the thing, you're just kind of like, oh, yeah, I guess that's fine.
I mean, kind of. Okay, but hold on a second here. Because I mean, who do we have so far that can break the fourth wall? We've got She-Hulk.
Deadpool.
We've got Deadpool. Who else? Anybody?
Not really anyone really officially. I feel like Miss Marvel as a character is kind of done it in the sense of where not really breaking the fourth wall in the sense of talking to the audience, but in the sense of like she's in her own kind of fantasy land.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where we see her little doodles and animations and storytelling and
But not directly talking to the audience.
No, only Deadpool and the She-Hulk kind of get.
I mean, I really enjoyed her little quirks towards the camera.
Yeah,
and I did enjoy that ending. It's not like it was great, really was.
Yeah,
but it's just I don't. The Young Avengers is coming, right? We've basically known that since WandaVision, right? And they keep introducing all these characters towards that, and then we've got now we've got they haven't even announced that.
Yeah,
have they? Like, as Kevin Feige went out and said, "Nope, we're gonna have Young Avengers." You've got all these characters for that.
Yeah, that's one of those things that they're pretending
I mean?
like it's some big secret, but like
exactly
couldn't be
and
more
it's,
obvious.
the same with all these other things coming out. Like, I guess I feel like they went into a lot with Kevin.
Yeah.
To make it a nothing. You know what I mean?
Fair. It's a fair point.
Like, I just feel like there was a lot of emphasis on Kevin. The not Feige, but the
it
camera.
It is Kevin. It's just
I know.
It's the.
But in the show, I'm just saying. I feel like they went through a lot of work to not have it be curious. Do you think they're going to do something more with that character?
No. That was very specific because remember, that doesn't exist within the MCU. She left the MCU and came into the real world.
Right.
And spoke to Kevin, who's the creator of the MCU. So that's technically within the world of the MCU, that doesn't exist. There is no Kevin Feige. There is no Marvel. She left that world.
One of the guys that work. Okay, so we don't do a whole lot of work right now, right?
Yeah, sure.
He was thinking that it could be a Kang thing.
Love the way
He Who Remains. That's He Who Remains.
Sure, in robot form.
In robot form.
Well, again.
So that's. I mean,
you're talking about something happening within the MCU. Kevin and that whole sequence was outside of the MCU.
Ish.
I mean, sure.
Okay, because
all that stuff was filmed really on the lots.
I was trying to follow it, and he made a good point, but it's something like she's aware. Characters who break the fourth wall are aware they're a simulation.
Right.
That this whole thing is a simulation, and that somebody as powerful as the Kangs, one of them, at least one of the variants, would be able to understand that
What if one variation of Kang is like he became Deadpool, and so it's like a Kang pool, and like he can fourth wall break, but then also be able to travel time and space? That's crazy. Anyway,
It's
we're
crazy.
moving into like
Anyway,
conspiracy theory stuff.
I'm just saying that he had a really good argument for
right.
that because all the variants are different, right? There's
Sure.
one would assume that one of his variants would be able to break the fourth wall. If that's something MCU characters can do, of the infinite number of Kangs,
It's very possible.
one of them would be able to do that, take over Kevin, and
Sure.
that would be the sacred timeline.
I, I guess.
I mean, think about it. Like when you get into that, like
I mean,
it's not that far of when you.
I mean, but what's the end goal? To just make a lot of money? Like, what's the end goal?
No, because
of...
then he can. Then that's how you can. That's how you make this sacred timeline. That's how you establish the dominance. Because you're literally writing the program at that point. You are literally writing the storyline for the MCU. If you can control that,
Sure.
They could do whatever you wanted to do.
I guess. I guess.
You could do all those things.
Moving on to some other talk besides She-Hulk. I do have this. Hang on. Let's see.
All right, keep going.
Bring us. Or bring in the. We're gonna talk some movie. So check this out. So reports are coming out. If you remember, the late William Hurt was playing Thaddeus Ross, and he played him in the Hulk and in that one cut scene with Robert Downey Jr. And he came back for Black Widow and a couple other roles. He unfortunately passed, and we do know that Thunderbolts is becoming a thing. We know they've announced it. They've done the cast. There are rumors that they will recast the role of General Thaddeus Ross, and the rumors have it, bring it up, that it will be none other than Harrison Ford to take over for William Hurt's position as General Thaddeus Ross. Thunderbolt Ross, as he's known in the comic books. Your thoughts?
I don't hate it.
A very grumpy, grizzled. Does anybody seen Harrison Ford act lately? Like other than I think the Star Wars character, because it's just a lot of this grumpy old man speak.
Yeah, he's like 70 fucking years old.
I know he's definitely. I don't know how I feel. It's one thing if you're like, it's his brother, Theobald Ross or something, or Gerald Ross. I don't care. But he's a phenomenal actor. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a legend in the business. He's a sci-fi legend. He's a pop culture legend. He's all that. But the actor that William Hurt is or was doesn't really line up to, I think, the kind of actor that Harrison Ford is currently. Maybe years ago, maybe. But just currently. Bradley Wayne says Sam Elliott would be a perfect cat.
Yeah, I was just reading that.
Sam Elliott, I think, would have been a really good get for that.
I don't think so. He's too slow.
Yeah,
Sam Elliott is by far one of my favorite actors in Hollywood, working actors right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not even 1883. Sam Elliott in 1883 was phenomenal, but he fits that cowboy genre great. That slow, drawn out. That's not Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah. It's definitely I don't know. It's one of those things where it doesn't seem right. But then again, 1989, they announced that, Michael Keaton's going to play Batman. And everyone's like, what? Mr. Mom playing Batman? That doesn't make any sense.
You know who actually would fit that role really well?
Who's that?
Robert Patrick. As Thunderbolt Ross.
I don't see it.
Don't? I 100% do. Same kind of energy. Same kind of. I wonder how it'd look with a mustache, though. But I could totally see him. He's
Yeah.
about
Okay. No, I'm thinking it through.
about that same level of energy. I could see it working. I think that would be a good
A little
one.
smaller in stature, though. Yeah. But then again, size doesn't really matter. That's what I keep telling my
I mean, look at
wife.
Tom Cruise. He's fucking. But I think Robert Patrick would do.
Yeah.
Don't you have
Yeah.
his email or something? Send him a message. Be like, hey,
Yeah,
dude,
I'll let him know. I'll let him
I
know the
found your
roles.
role, buddy. I know you're busy, but here, be this guy for us.
Toss you a role. Scott says Brad Pitt would be better. Gerald McCraney. Who's Gerald McCraney? I don't recognize that name.
Sam Elliott was Thunderbolt in the first Hulk movie?
No, William Hurt was. William Hurt was. He's been
in the first Hulk movie in 2003.
Yeah, he's been. Well, wait, no. If you're talking about like the not the Marvel Hulk. If you're talking about the Eric Bana Hulk, we're not even talking about that. We're not talking about Eric Bana. We're talking about the Edward Norton Hulk movie. William Hurt's been there since then.
He was General Ross.
Oh yeah,
in 2003.
There you go. Talk about multiversal.
God, Nick Nolte was in it too. He would actually be better for Thunder
Ross. Greg Russell says Bryan Cranston for get Walter White for Thaddeus Ross, Thunderbolt Ross. Maybe
I could see that.
We're over here fan casting. Anyway, point is, rumors have it. This is what's being reported. It's not official. It hasn't come out from any official source. These are just what Hollywood insiders are saying, that Harrison Ford has taken over the role and will be Thaddeus Ross, which the only reason you do that is obviously for the Thunderbolts. And then for those that know the comic books, Thunderbolt Ross does end up becoming a version of the Hulk, the Red Hulk, who instead of getting stronger when he gets madder, he gets hotter. He actually produces like heat. So yeah, that could
Gerald McRaney.
Mm-hmm.
Cost says Gerald McRaney.
Gerald McRaney?
The guy who played Major Dad.
Oh, yeah. He was in my air assault class when I was at Campbell. Nice. Yeah, I mean, it could happen.
What about... no, we're done with that.
Yeah.
We're done with it. I was just going to say, what could they switch it to where he's a younger character and then it's like earlier in his career? I mean, it'd be really hard to do that though, wouldn't it? With so many established characters, you really couldn't.
Well, I mean, what if you do something like, he gets hit with some alpha wave beam and it de-ages him 30 years and then you get, someone young to play him or something. I don't know.
I mean, your other option would be just have it like Charlie's Angels and just he doesn't show up.
There's that. Or, and this is where I guess they're going to go
have Valentina do all the work for him.
Could be. I mean, it's a situation of, hey man, the multiverse is open now. So, it's just a different version of him. I don't know. We had different versions of Spider-Man. That's how it happens. So what else? In other apparent reported casting news, and this is one that I think is going to hit you right in the feels. In the feels. There is a rumor. Don't get your hopes up because you've been hurt so many times that we're actually going to get Mephisto soon.
Sure.
The current rumors is that Borat himself has been cast. Sacha Baron Cohen has been cast as Mephisto. Now, the rumors are circulating. This was something that was rumored kind of earlier this month. Kind of dismissed it because it was like it wasn't really coming from anywhere and it's just like one of those like fan things. But now there are insider reports that people have been heard talking about it on the set of Ironheart, which is currently shooting. Typically, I would dismiss a rumor like that because so what? People are talking about it. Who cares? But there's something. We talked about this the last time. Remember I showed pictures of the filming of Ironheart. We saw the suits of armor, and we saw the chick and everything. And we talked about one of the bad guys that's going to be in that series, and that's the Hood. If those that know the comic book characters, the Hood is a gangster who gets this like mystical hood that gives him all these powers. Now, he gets it by making a deal with Dormammu. What if in this series, it's only a glimpse, because you know Marvel loves to do this, it's only a glimpse, it's only a tease, but we see in some like a flashback sequence when they're doing the Hood origin, he makes a deal with the devil, and it's Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto. And again, it's one of those seed things where it's like it's not important to that story, but it's something that's going to be important to later on, and they want to drop the seed. So what are your thoughts? What do you think? Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto.
I see it.
You see
I
it.
do see it. He is, since Ali G, the Ali G show has been up there amongst the favorites of mine.
Mhm.
I actually wasn't the biggest fan of the Borat movies, but that's neither here nor there. But it'd be a departure for him, I think.
Would it though?
He hasn't been.
You don't think he'd be a serious actor?
He hasn't been the most serious actor. He's brilliant. If you watch, did you watch the Ali G show?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of his work.
He is fucking brilliant.
Whip smart, yeah. And he can. The thing about him is he can embody a character.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
He does.
He fully lets it take over him.
Absolutely. So, do you want somebody who's that much of a method actor getting into Mephisto?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. You don't need the Al Pacino scary devil, right? Mephisto, you want someone who can almost be suave and debonair, a little silly, almost to throw you off balance, right? Because you expect the devil to be scary, and if it's a guy, he's gonna crack a joke and be silly and do a pratfall or whatever. Like, you can have this guy. I think what was it, the Legend of Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights, his character of the Frenchman. So take like that character, make him a little more dramatic, a little more sinister. And I feel like that's very close to what a Mephisto could be. Traditionally.
I don't hate it. I think he'd be fine.
Yeah.
I think he'd be fine. He definitely looks the part. I think, like I said, he's such a brilliant person.
Right. He's a phenomenal actor.
Off the things he does, he's fucking amazing.
Yeah. For all the people that just put him off. Yeah. For all the people that just put him off as, oh, that's Borat. Like, that's such a drop in the bucket.
He's a fucking ton of things.
Yeah. It's such a drop in the bucket of what a talent he is. I think I would be excited if this turns out to be true, and they're doing it the way, think the way they're doing Kang the Conqueror, how we got just a little taste, and then we're gonna get a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and it's gonna lead to something big. That's what I would want to see for this guy. I would want, like, again, you give him the little tease. He's the, and you find out, like, you could even do kind of the flashback, like he's always been there, right? He's the guy whispering into people's ears, like, Justin Hammer when he's creating the Stark Tech copy drones, right? He's kind of like, oh, you just need this, and like he's like, I would love to see them, kind of do the Loki thing with fuck with time, but it's the MCU universe where he's always been there. He's always been the guy whispering into people's ears, all the bad people, all the tragedies, the Sokovia Accords. Like, he was in the room when we should do legislation for superheroes. Like, and he's like in the background, like, whispering into the guy's ear. And like, I would love something them to do something like that. And it's like, it's been Mephisto all along, something like that. He was whispering into Agatha Harkness. He's like, oh, you should go check out what's going on over there in what's in Westview.
I mean, I don't hate it. I really do think it. I think he'd be fine at it. I can't think of anybody better. That's the problem.
Okay,
like
so
when we were just going through the other one, I could think of 5 other people that were better fits than Harrison Ford for that part.
Right. Well, here's it.
I can't think of anything better than Sacha Baron Cohen for that.
Right? So Stan has a great point. He says there's a large audience of people that think he sucks, that they don't like him, mostly because of the Borat character. They think, oh, that's all he does, and that's all. But so how do you introduce him in a way that sells tickets? And this was exactly my point.
Yep. You
plant the seed.
Yep. You introduce him slowly and let it build.
He's in one scene all of like 30 seconds to 2 minutes, and let him just drip with that sinister vibe that makes you want more. He's not over the top. He's not silly. He's not doing crazy character. He's just basically like an evil version of himself, the person. You know what I mean? And have that. Oh, I think people see that and they're gonna go, oh, I want more of this. The same way we saw He Who Remains, and we're like, this guy's gonna be awesome, and it's gonna be so good. That's exactly what we need to see if this turns out to be true. So I think that's how they get people to buy into it. He's not the
that's
sell.
how you introduce him.
They don't the same way like I'm thinking, well, they kind of teased the Daredevil thing. The same way they did Scar. Obviously, I don't really think they did a great job with introducing him as a character, but like, don't make it a thing. Don't make it a tease. Don't make it something people are looking for. Drop it in, let them go crazy, and then you give them a little bit more and more later. And I think that's the way to do it.
Yep.
I think that will get people hyped for that, whatever. Or the actor that played the last Dracula movie. Might be a little too on the nose if he already played Dracula.
I think Sacha Baron Cohen would be great. I really and like I said, Borat. I was not a fan of the Borat movies because it was too repetitive and stupid, and it played off too much of a stereotype. I think.
Yeah.
Where, like I said, even in The Dictator, he's funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I said, the
Ali
G show.
Comedic. Yeah, he's known for his comedic roles and his comedic work. But
honestly,
he's
even as the
actor.
fucking lemur. As the fucking the lemur on what's that fucking
Madagascar.
Madagascar. He's fucking hilarious. He's hilarious.
So the reason too, like, I don't think we're gonna see or hear anything about it until it happens, is because the same way they were able to keep for Multiverse of Madness, for Doctor Strange, they were able to keep all those cameos secret because they didn't actually film together. They were filmed in private during private record, like only like the cameraman, the actor, and like the director knew about it. And they were filmed in secret and then added into the movie. And I feel like something like that could happen for this, because he's not needed to be on set. He's not needed to be in the story. You could green screen the back, put him in there, have him say his lines, boom, throw it into the show. Nobody ever sees it coming. And it's not ruined because of the fact that it's kept secret. I think the more I'm thinking about it in my head, the more I'm like, this is definitely going to happen. I'm talking myself into it.
You're not wrong, dude. You're not wrong. I really see it. It wouldn't surprise me, but I mean, like, being an early rumor, it's still kind of
I mean, it's still in film.
I haven't bought into it, but I definitely wouldn't sell it out.
Let's not get started on the Blade. So Bradley's talking about maybe he can appear in the new Blade at the end or something. The Blade, man, that's been shelved. I hate to tell you, that's been shelved. There's been a ton of reports about how the script was not good. They've rewritten it multiple times. The director stepped away from the project. It's been shelved at least another year or two. Minimal. So they're talking like 2024 at the earliest it makes an appearance, which is unfortunate. And it's all, my other thing is, what's his name? Mahershala Ali, the guy that's playing Blade. He's already 48 years old. He's 48 years old. So if this thing doesn't even start filming for another 2 years, he's going to be 50 playing Blade. And the whole thing is they wanted to build this whole supernatural kind of universe, and you spawn off all these other, Midnight Suns and all these other things. And he's already 50. Like, that's asking and Blade's a physical character. It's one thing to have Iron Man and but like, Blade is a flippy, sword stabby, fighty guy.
Flippy McSword Stabby. All right. Then.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Yeah, like Stan says, 50's the new 30.
God, I hope so, because I feel like the new 80.
Yeah, because I'm closer to 50 than I am 30.
Yeah, Jesus, don't say things like that. That makes me feel bad.
I am.
I understand. I know it's fact. I don't need you to say it out loud.
I fucking said it.
So one last story, and this is kind of I gotta be careful what I say because I have information, but I don't want to ruin anything for anyone.
Just ruin it.
What I will no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not that guy.
I am.
I will say that fans have been clamoring for more Henry Cavill as Superman, right? The last time we saw him, not counting the Zack Snyder release because that's just re-release footage, but the last time he really put on the costume was 5 years ago for Justice League. Now, there have been reports that he's going to appear as a cameo in the upcoming, I almost said Black Lightning, Black Adam movie. I'm not going to confirm or deny. That's just the rumors, is that he's there. But the good news is, if that's true or not, regardless, there's a big shakeup at WB, at Warner Brothers right now. A lot of people know about this. The president of DC Films is kind of like on the outs, like he's being removed. And
good.
There's a
fucking good. Bye, see ya.
About time, right? So the tops of the execs for Warner Brothers Pictures, which are like Michael DeLuca and Pam, I think it's Pam Abdi. The rumor is that they are very interested in doing a direct sequel to Man of Steel, like a literal Superman 2, Man of Steel 2, and that they are currently in search of writers to do the sequel. So if that's the case, we might sooner or later get Henry Cavill back in as Superman. And a lot of people are saying that this Black Adam movie is kind of the rebirth of the DCEU, and it's back to form, and it's going to be the new wave and everything. I don't know how you do it, given the Amber Heard situation in Aquaman, and given the Flash situation with Ezra Miller. I just don't like. They seem to be stuck between we want to reboot and we want to keep it going, and they keep kind of going back and forth.
Yep.
Now this Black Adam movie squarely takes place in the DCEU. So it is in the same universe as the Superman, Aquaman, Flash, Justice League. It takes place in that universe. So,
which I feel bad for.
Yeah, Amanda Waller has appeared in the trailers. So Amanda Waller, who's of the Suicide Squad and of the DC Justice League and all that, she's in it. So it's definitely within that universe. What they do with that, I don't know.
See, that's where I'm at, dude. Like, what do we? I mean, like they would be much better off distancing that movie because it looks like it's gonna be good. Or no, you don't think so? You don't think so?
Remember I told you a long time ago, I can watch a trailer and it can tell me all I need to know about a movie?
Yeah.
You
think that's all the good in it, huh?
No. Here's the flip of that.
Okay.
In every trailer, they've shown different action set pieces.
Yep.
If you looked at all the trailers, and there's like 6 or 7 different ones at this point.
There's been a lot of trailers.
They all have different action set pieces, which is a good sign. That means you're not going to see all the good stuff in the trailer, right? You're not going to see all the big set pieces in the trailer because there's tons to pick from. But what concerns me, and what I believe to be the case, you see nothing of story, and that's a bad sign. Like you don't want the story to be given away, right?
I'm tracking. Yeah.
But like even if you watch the Black Panther trailer, you don't know the story, but you kind of emotionally get like, okay, we're here, and this stuff's gonna happen, and this is where we're trying to get to. Like there's this kind of story arc, emotional arc. If you watch every Black Adam trailer, it's, wow, he's strong. Wow, he can fight. Wow, explosion. Can you
Yeah.
tell me anything of the story other than Black Adam is unstoppable? You can't. And that is what concerns me.
Okay, I'm tracking.
It might all if Dwayne the Rock Johnson is the sole leader behind this, he's a big action guy, a big set piece guy. Not exactly really known for his amazing dialogue or storytelling. I mean, in the wrestling world, sure, but in movies, I have a concern that it will be a lot of action
And
with
not a lot of
with
okay.
not a lot of character development, with not a lot of story development, and it's just, hey, look at this cool thing. Right? Black
Okay.
Panther was a great example of really cool set pieces, really cool design, but really good story. And I let's take a knock. I'll be honest. Let's take a knock on Black Panther. The end fight was very cliche of like two guys with the same powers in a dark thing hitting each other until one man is left, and it didn't really change the game in that front. But outside of that, beautiful story, well written, great character arcs, a villain that you love to hate and hate to love. Like, that's a great example of a good. And I don't feel that this is that.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
I
get
don't.
that. I really do. As you say that,
Yeah,
because I mean, I just was like, I'm like the trailers have lots of different things. And it looks like
Yeah.
it could be kind of fun,
yeah.
and it doesn't look like because like you said, if it's this when the trailers are the same thing, the same 5 things over and over and over
They
again,
have nothing else to show you.
fuck, it's gonna suck.
Yep.
I didn't even think about the lack of a plot.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be the Adam. Kevin Hart's gonna be him as the Adam.
He's when the guy shrinks down, he's the Atom.
Yeah.
No, he's not. But yeah, so look, don't let this is just as a guy who watches millions of trailers and watches millions of movies. It's just something I've learned over the time. I can kind of see it, in certain aspects.
It does make sense as you say it like that.
Yeah. I think it's gonna look visually. I think it's gonna be stunning. I think it's gonna have a lot of action. I just there. Maybe it's there and they just haven't shown it. But none of the trailers like show characters really interacting, or talking, or making a point of like, what is this movie about? And that always concerns me, because if they can't dilute it to a trailer, I mean, if you got 2 hours of content to pull from and you can't put that into a 2-minute trailer, that's concerning for me.
Yes.
Case in point, I have the Creed 3 trailer. Let's watch. It's a 2-minute trailer. Let's watch that real quick. And then I want to show you what a good trailer can do. And you're looking for action, but you're looking for the heart of the movie, the kind of the beat of the story. So real quick, let's watch sorry, hang on a second. Where did I put you? I'm gonna switch this so that our boy Radar can hear it too.
Radar's fine. Radar will figure it out.
Radar.
Fine. When you do that, I just turn on the noise for the thing.
Okay, you sure?
For the stream. It's fine. Go ahead. Do what you do.
All right, guys. I'm gonna play you the trailer for Creed 3. So there you have it. Creed 3 in theaters soon. Did you see what I was talking about?
No.
Seriously?
I saw explosions. Stuff.
Such a dick, Radar. That's exactly my point, is that
I think that looks great. That looks good.
You get a sense of the movie. You get a sense of the characters and how they're interacting, and you get your set pieces. You get your action set pieces. You know there's gonna be action and those things, but I don't know. It screams. Which, by the way, we were talking about Kang a minute ago. How amazing does Jonathan Majors look? That dude looks like a beast.
Yeah.
My God.
Is he fixing to be one of the most sought after actors in Hollywood?
I honestly,
he's
after
definitely
he
one of the most
did,
well paid. After that film comes out, and after he's in the MCU as such a major character, he's getting
yeah.
paid, son.
Well, you already know he's going to be in Ant-Man 3. He's going to be in the Kang Dynasty. He's going to be in Secret
Yep.
Wars. You know,
Mhm.
he's
He
fixing to be in the
paid.
MCU for a while, and then in the Creed franchise, and then all the others. He's an incredible actor.
Yes.
Incredible actor.
Absolutely.
But man, the body transformation, good Lord. I can't imagine what he had to put his body through to look like that.
CGI, dude. Look at the Hulk.
It's all CGI. It's all CGI.
It's all CGI.
I'm
No,
gonna
dude,
t-
he
I'm gonna-
fucking looks fantastic.
I'm going to tweet at him, bro, try it without all the CGI.
Yeah, bruh. Hit the gym, bruh. Have a granola bar.
Turn off the
Eggs.
filters. Let's see what you really look like. Oh,
It
God.
Cause is right. It is a rocky plot with new actors. Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what all of them are. And honestly, I haven't seen any of them. It's such a long. I saw like Rocky 1 and Rocky 2. He ate the DFAC for a month. No, he
It would be very, very different.
oh, he had those. He had breakfast at the DFACs in Iraq. The eggs that gave you the shit so bad. He had those every day, and he just shit everything out for a month.
Yes.
And then drew in a porta shitter.
All right, guys, you've been patient enough. I want to bring out our interview for the night. We're gonna first say a bit of fair adieu to Mr. Radar while we while we prep for our interview here. So, Radar, we'll see you back in a little bit.
Yes, I know
Say
that was a
bye,
question or a statement. Bye, Radar.
Radar. That's a statement. All right, I'm gonna take Radar off for a second. Nah, I gotta do my spiel. You guys know. You've been here, you know. So we're not gonna cut to a break. I'm just gonna go straight into it. My guest tonight is an incredibly accomplished woman. She is a Canadian actress and comedian. She's a former casting director, an award-winning voiceover artist who frequently works with Ocean Productions in Vancouver, British Columbia, and is known for her roles as Near in Death Note, Cyber 6 in the show Cyber 6, and Spike in My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. She's worked in radio. She's done anime dubs. She's voiced cartoon characters, as well as done work for video games. She now even teaches the incredible art of voiceover work in her workshops and private training sessions. My God, her resume is literally a mile long. So enough buildup. Let's get to it. Everyone give a warm PCW welcome to our amazing guest tonight, Miss Cathy Weseluck. All right. Thank you, everybody. This is my wonderful guest for tonight. This is Cathy Weseluck. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk to you. Really, just thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure, Mike. It's great to be here, and I can't wait to get started, see what comes out.
Outstanding. And my friends call me CQ, so you can call me CQ. Okay, so right out the gate, the first thing I like to ask all my guests, because we are kind of military affiliated and veteran community facing, what is and do you have a military connection?
I can't say that I do, at least personally.
Mhm.
I know friends whose father had been in the military, who therefore had lives where they had to travel around the world on missions, and therefore was constantly uprooted. The struggles that occur with being part of a family that is a military family with those kinds of challenges, not really knowing where you might be posted, how long the posting will be, and all the changes that come with that. Along with, of course, the direct concerns and challenges that the military individuals themselves have to face. So, I know it's a difficult life, obviously, but not personally. But I've had friends who have lived it. Yes.
Wow. It's so nice to hear because the reason I always ask, for those that don't know, is I've found in my experience, when I left the service, when so many others leave the service,
Mhm.
they do feel this sort of disconnect
Absolutely.
and isolation from maybe the general civilian public. And
Yep.
so, I love to point out, when we have guests who maybe their cousin or their uncle or their grandfather or even their friend or the guy that I knew that went to high school, my cousin's dog, whatever it is. I
Yeah.
knew someone who served, and it's just to remind folks that like we're closer than you think, and you don't need to be isolated. Some of your favorite voices, some of your favorite actors and actresses have all that understand, and they're there for us as veterans. So thank you for that.
And
Go ahead.
since if I could step in for a second, I just want to
Sure.
say we've done My Little Pony Friendship is Magic and got on board with all the conventions. I have been interviewed many a time by the military bronies. And so I've gotten to know them very, very well in that respect over the years and love to hear their stories. And I just want to thank every one of you for your service and for the heart, blood, guts, emotion, time, and everything else that I've not mentioned that goes into having to do what you do and for giving your all in that. It's there's no words for it. And so I just want to thank you personally and on behalf of others who can't. Thank you.
Oh,
So
that's wonderful. Yeah, and we're gonna get into the brony stuff. We're gonna get into that. I'm gonna save that one for a little bit
okay,
because I
okay,
because
okay.
I have so many questions. I have so
Of
many
course.
questions.
Ready.
But before, so obviously we are a pop culture podcast. If you couldn't tell from my background, I'm a big old nerd. What what stuff do you geek out about? Whether it's movies or music or history or like what flames the geek passion in your heart?
Well, geek is a very interesting term because it may not be geeky to one person, right? It might be
Right.
geeky to another. So I have always been fascinated with, um, in some ways, astronomy and the unknown. It's a passion I have that is a curiosity since I was a child, and so I'm fascinated with black holes and quantum physics, and the origin of things, and the fact that everything is literally made of energy fascinates me.
Mm.
So it always has, and I continue to be interested in on the side. I can't say that I belong to clubs or that I can speak eloquently, but a little tidbit, little fact that when I was in university, and here I was taking a bachelor of music and a minor in sociology, I needed to take an elective. And I thought, oh man, astronomy, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna learn about all those things that I was interested in. Only to find, of course, that it was like all about physics, like heavy duty physics. And I'm like, why did I do this to myself? So, but I just find it fascinating, and I really really enjoy that the unknown and how far out there we can get. When the Mars, what's it called? What's this little Mars dude that's rolling around Mars? What's that
Oh
little
yeah, the rover, the one.
rover? Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
love stuff like that. I love looking to see that what they've discovered, and I'd love to know what the place is made out of and things like that. That's a little side geeky thing I have, and I play a mean game of ping pong. So.
I
Or we
love it.
yeah, I think it was
Love it.
I'm so sorry I always get it wrong, but I think it was at WasabiCon in San Francisco where we raised money, me playing ping pong with some other bronies.
That's outstanding. I'm a bit of a table tennis aficionado myself. That's so cool. No, I love everything you said. Yeah, we're all atoms, and I remember reading something where they were like, atoms can't actually physically touch each other, and yet we're all made of atoms. So how is it that we have physical form? It's like, oh,
And so that's all about frequency. That's what
mm,
if you resonate within a similar band of frequencies, then to you the touch seems physical. But if
mm.
you come out of that band, technically, you're in another band. So therein lies the question of what happens to us when we, spirit, soul, energy, physicality, frequencies, vibrations. It's all it's intriguing. So
Wow.
you
See,
know, water turning into vapor. Things like
mhm.
that. Simple things. I used to love that when I was a kid in school too. And I used to love to play with the magnets and the iron filings and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, see, this is why I like this. I can't Google this stuff. I can't
No,
find out what Kathy's into unless we sit down and we get to talk and we get to know the person behind these amazing characters. So I love this. I absolutely love this. So again, just giving you an opportunity to say your piece too. Are there any charities that you want to shout out? Any things, any big things you want to support or show? What should be people be checking out?
well, I'm a real fan of a group called Four Ocean. Number four, Ocean. and they're wonderful, a wonderful group. I'm not even going to talk eloquently about the details of them, but do go online, and I have supported them quite a bit. They provide bracelets. They clean up the beaches essentially, and they find pieces of glass and things like that. And they're just constantly doing this, and they've done an amazing job of it. And so I just love big organizations and small but grassroots organizations that are really making a change. So they're one group, because there are family members. There's a family member in my family at this time who has suffered a stroke, and so that I've been looking after in part. I really, really encourage people to give to the stroke societies, Heart and Stroke Foundation as well. But I don't. I'm going to have to find out. I guess the Delta Stroke Society. I'll have to give you, Mike, if you want me to be able to let you know
Sure.
directly via email and stuff. But I really support that, and I've learned a great deal about it. It's fascinating because when a person has a stroke, one of the big misnomers is that some of them lose part of their speech, others have problems with appendages, or they can't move them, and this and that. But they're cognitive. It's assumed because they can't speak or they're having difficulties that their cognitive is affected. And in a huge like the majority are not, they're the same people, but they're having trouble getting it out.
Mm,
And that happens with any brain aneurysms. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm really generalizing here. There's also a book called My Stroke of Insight, I believe it's called. Jill Bolte Taylor. Everyone has to read that book. It's fantastic. And so those are the societies, those are the groups that I really love to donate to. And there's many others. There's just many others. Sustainability, anything that supports alternative energies, things like that. I love all that. So go to town, everyone.
no, that's great. That's great. I
Just
love to
smile
hear.
or for somebody, and
Mhm.
just help another individual on a small level every single day. Try to be positive. I thank people every single day when I'm out in the world. I'm thanking service workers. I'm thanking the grocery store clerks. I'm thanking obviously doctors and hospital people, everybody for their service. And COVID has done a number on everybody. And I just think we all need to be acknowledged, and we need to get together as one and be a force of heart again. That's my big thing.
No, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's again, we can't talk about it enough. Letting people know and reminding people that there's, this work is going out there. I've talked about charities that I've supported many times, and so I love to hear when other people are passionate about things and want to share it. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
So I did a little reading. I did a little diving into you, and I know that you were born in I believe it was Vancouver, Ontario, Canada. Uh,
Nope.
no, man, the internet is
I
wrong.
was born in Toronto. In Toronto.
Toronto, Toronto. Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
bad internet, bad. Uh,
Okay. Lots of mistakes. Trust me.
so I'm just curious, growing up for you, what was that like? What was the family unit? Was it big family, small family? Paint us a picture. What was little Cathy like?
Little Kathy was very shy, but very quiet and introspective as I am now. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily quiet, but I'm not necessarily loud either. As a matter of fact, they always in the earlier days when they had the crazy actors bounding off like they would put me in the middle because I was pretty grounding. Um, I come from a very small family. Actually, I have a brother and wonderful parents. My father passed away when I was 20, and my brother 22, and it was a journey that took us to different areas within journeys, inward journeys, and so a lot had to change, and it was devastating for my family, my mother, and we made it through. And as a result, I didn't have a father past that point, and it was a difficult journey for him. It was a very, very, very difficult ending for him. And so, but we're very, very tight knit, and so is our cousins. We have a small family too, but our cousins are like our brothers and sisters. And so, having that meaning a lot to me was always something I carried with me, even in friendship and with strangers. That all of us, that connectivity of heart, was something that meant a lot to me as a child. And I also was a nature baby. So I used to love to take off on my bike, and I would anywhere that there was a river or there was, a trail for me to explore, I would be out there. So did a lot of solo journeying that way. Um, went to high school, went to university in Ontario, got a bachelor of music degree, minor in sociology, and in the program, third and fourth year, I got into the CBC in the radio music department in Toronto through that program, and became a trainee associate producer for radio music, which got me out to British Columbia in Vancouver. So there's the Vancouver thing, where I worked as an associate producer on a show called Disc Drive for a couple of years, and worked on another show. And then all of a sudden, I started to do acting, and it just took off from there. And I couldn't imagine this as being a career. It was kind of like a hobby. The host of the show said, "You know, you have a really nice voice." And I said, "Oh, gee, thanks. Have you ever done any voiceover?" And I said, "Voice what?" And he said, "You know, commercials, cartoons." I said, "No." And he said, "You need to think about that." And then someone told me do some on camera acting, which I dabbled in. But I hate memorizing, Mike. Hate it. Hate it. Hate it. So much more fun just feeling it.
No, I love it. And I mean, man, you literally beat me to my next question, because I know that you spent time in the radio world and doing that. What kind of drew you to radio in the first place?
Well, it stemmed back to what I mentioned, and that was that the host of the show also worked at a radio station. And he's the one that heard my commercial voice. He didn't necessarily talk about animation. He was talking about commercials. And so he made a demo for me. He said, "You know what? I believe so much in you that," because he worked at CBC and then he worked at another station locally. He said, "I have a great engineer. I'll make a demo for you. Come on in. Let's do this and see. Let's get it out there." So I did that, and I knew the drama producers very well at CBC. They were wonderful, wonderful, and later freelanced for them. And they provided me with an agent. They said, "I think you're good enough to just get an agent. So let's try your luck." So I got an agent through them. But radio was the first medium in voiceover that they recognized some sort of talent in. And so I made a radio demo first, and then I did an animation demo. And they both took off, and I was quite amused. I was like, "This is ridiculous. This is fun. Like, what?" I wanted to be a composer of film and TV documentary because I had a music degree and I wanted to use it, but I also wanted to do documentaries that were passionate on certain topics and humanitarian. And that was what I was thinking at 18. But I also went to get a composer's degree. I wanted to compose music. Yeah.
Wow. It's like you have my script, because my next question was going to be,
Yep.
had the radio thing not happened, where was your head at? What kind of career path did you want to go down to? But you already answered that. You said
Well,
a
it's what
composer.
I thought at my age, like with what you have at 18, the tools that you have at that age, you only know so much. And my father was dying actually at that time when I was in first year university. So it was very challenging. And when you do a degree in music, whether it's composition as your major or a performer or a general degree in it, you need to be able to perform an instrument. And so I went in thinking I would be a composer and see what happened then, because I loved and respected classical music, but it wasn't my jam, so to speak. It wasn't like my major passion.
Right.
And then I had problems with my arm muscles at one point. They did not know what was happening, and so had to switch instruments. And so this whole program was going to fall apart. I came in as a viola player because I had it in high school. Viola and trumpet I played in high school, and but I had trouble with my arm muscles. And they said, if you're going to stay in this program, you need to have an instrument. What are you going to do? Can you sing? Can you play piano? I said, yeah, I can play a bit. I can sing a bit. And I thought, you know what? Let me try classical guitar. They're like, what? Try it? I said, well, I play guitar. I strum around. I can do it. I said, I'll learn it. So they introduced me to their Hungarian instructor, Tibor Puskás, who knew a great famous composer, his nephew, of Bela Bartok's nephew. And he said, if you can prove to me you can do this, then we'll let you continue the program. And so I did it. I worked, I went out to an hour's drive to Waterloo, Ontario from Toronto, and I put in the time and the effort, and I was able to do it, and I graduated with that performance degree too.
Wow.
It was something.
Can you
Dad
can
was dying, didn't know what was going on, fucking around with cartoons. I don't know. I survived.
Wow.
And
Hey,
CBC stuff. It was really hard. It was really
wow.
hard. I had to live up to working with producers that were like live, and it was tough. At the same time, my dad was dying. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's funny sometimes how the universe works itself out and where you end up. Can you still play any of the instruments? Do you still tinker?
I can play some of the instruments. I don't tinker as much because there's just so much else happening. So it's not something I just pick up and do. I have a keyboard at home, and I used to compose a lot of stuff, and I might get back to it at some point. But no, it's a little bit dormant at the moment.
Mm.
Yeah.
So again, if the internet's to be believed, I started digging around IMDb and looking at your work, which is extensive. I don't know if you've ever looked at the work you've done. It's an extensive, exhaustive list.
It
Uh,
is.
but going into the archives, digging all the way back, I'm not trying to date anybody here.
Mhm.
Uh, but I saw like the earliest work I could find was an English dub you did for Young Mowgli in the Adventures of Mowgli movie of 1973,
Yeah.
which I mean I can't even fathom. And also the TV work you did 42 episodes of Mobile Suit Gundam in
Yes.
79. So
Yes.
I'm curious, being new to the industry and kind of jumping in on these English dubs for already established properties, what was that experience like for you?
Well, when you're a relatively new actor, you take the work you get in front of you. And so we were kind of, when you're brand new, you're kind of winging it as you go. But I found that at the beginning, I did quite a bit of different kind of voicing for animation. So we had not only the Saturday, Sunday morning cartoon opportunities, which was TV at the time, but we also had dubbing for different countries. But whereas now there's so much anime, like it's all Japanese,
Mhm.
which is, well, not all, but it's dominantly Japanese. Back then, we were doing dubbing for many different countries. We did them for Italy, we did it for Wales, we did it for France, we did it for all these different countries. And so I got very used to the ADR dubbing and matching lip syncing. But at that time, we also did a form of ADR. I did a form of ADR work where I could do authentic, at that time, even boy characters and teen characters for authentic feature films, like live acting feature films. So there was oh God, I'm going to forget it. Adrian something or other. What was it? Oh, I can't remember the series now, but it should come. Um, I had to play this star of this series. I had to play him as a young boy. So there was an actual. This is a television series,
Mhm.
actual people, not cartoons, and they could not. And the boy had a Scottish accent because the lead character was Scottish. So
Okay.
they couldn't find a boy who had a Scottish accent to be able to do that authentically. So they brought me in. So I'd have to go into the studio, watch this, and the subtlety of the acting, it just had to be so real. So I had those skills because of those projects way early on. Great questions, Mike. You've dug deep. Thank you. They're
I
fun.
that that's
Yeah.
that's what we do here. That's what we do here.
Yeah.
I like to think of this as like this is your life, but the interview version. And again, like you're reading right from the script because I'm really curious about the dubbing versus original voices, the challenges you face when you're having to, whether it be animated or not, translate something, read it back, kind of match, versus, hey, this is an all original, IP, this is the thing we're going to do, and you need to create the voice. I'm curious, what from your perspective, what are the challenges between the two?
They're very different. You rely very heavily on the director when you're doing dubbing.
Mm.
Because when you're doing dubbing versus what we call prelay, which is working in a group of actors with a director and a client, dubbing is solo work. So you go in, you get your scripts a little bit in advance, not a lot in advance, but a little bit in advance. Sometimes right there on the day because of NDAs and privacy and all kinds of stuff. And you're going in by yourself, and so you have to read the befores and afters of your lines to know what's going on. So there's no actor there live to be able to spur you on or to have you react. So you have to be able to do that within yourself. With the help of the director, because the director will say, well, this is what the show's about, this is what's happening in this scene, this is what's happening, and so he's done this and that, blah blah blah, and it's very very quick. It's not like we have hours or whatever that we sit there
Right.
and ponder and do method acting or anything. It's just the general stuff. So that's helpful. The director just kind of goes boom, boom, boom. And the other thing is when you have an ADR script, like World Trigger is a big show that we did relatively recently, Yumakuga, and very interesting. Love that show. Love doing that show. Um, the character, like in any character, really, it starts to evolve with every script. And then as it does in the first like 2 or 3 scripts, you start to go, oh, that guy's this guy. Oh, that guy's got an issue with that. Oh, that guy's got that quirk. Or he's an alien, but he loves human food. And so there's like this comedy thing happening. So it just evolves as you go along. You're not even sure what to expect, right? Similarly to prelay, the same thing happens with your character development. But in that respect, you're just bouncing off other actors right there and then. So you can feel if in the script they cut you up or in the script they're supportive of you, you feel those emotions and you react, but you can't do that in the ADR.
Yeah.
Um,
And I,
it's
sorry,
yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize. It's so fascinating because I often hear actors, they get like the big Marvel role, and people always ask like, oh, did you study the source material? Did you to get character insight? And so I wonder, for someone of you've done so much dubbing for established content. Do you ever, you get a character and then you go, let me look at some like, even though you maybe can't speak the language, but like, do you ever watch episodes in advance to see like what might happen in the future?
No, no. It's very, very in the moment, and that's purposeful because usually if you're doing another version of something, say it's a comic book, like Cyber Six was a comic book for an Argentinian comic book. So I didn't want to look at anything because I knew this was supposed to be done with a different group and a different so and so. And so you don't know what the clients are hoping for with respect to adaptation for the new audience. And so you just have to stay clear and clean and go with their direction. And this is what I do and let the impetus come. So because for me, it can get too heady. It's like, she did that. Why did she do that? Like that would just be too left brain. And actors
Mm.
need to have a little bit of information, but let it go. Find where it works for you. And then you're almost like a painting that's or a piece of clay that's being formed from yourself, but with the help of the directors and of course the clients who know what they want to do. So it's a moving piece of work and piece of art as you go. Yeah, I don't want any preconceived ideas because they may not be accurate.
Makes
Yeah.
sense. And I mean, if we're gonna live inside the character, well, they're experiencing this in the moment, so maybe you should experience this in the moment. You shouldn't know what's coming, kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, if they do want that to happen, then their job is to relay that to the director, who then has to relay it to me. And since I have cast and directed for a bit of time back in the day, it even is more helpful for me to as an actor because I understand what's required on both ends, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you first started getting these roles and doing the dub work and doing the voice work and a little bit of the acting work, I'm curious because like you said, this wasn't something that you had, oh, I started doing commercials when I was 6 and I worked my way up and I took all these classes. So I'm curious, like what was your uh where's your head at? You start to say, okay, I'm getting these jobs, I'm doing this thing. Like, did you think it was silly? Did you like, I can't believe they're paying me to do this? Or like where were you at mentally?
Great. These are great questions. Thank you. Where was I at mentally? Oh man, so many places at that time. Because so many things were happening, I was working at the CBC and I was young and I was having to keep up and learn different aspects of the job I was in. I was away from Toronto and my family. I had to actually find an apartment in 3 days. They told me I had the job, and then they're like, "We're flying you out this weekend, and you need to find a place to live." Blah blah blah. And it was during Expo, which is a kind of a fair we have in Vancouver, and the vacancy rate was 0.01 or something. It was insane. So I was very lucky to even find a place. And all you know is your new boss, who you hardly know. So all those things were kind of still in the play in the background. And my job was very demanding. I mean, it was very demanding. And we were doing live to air, live to tape and live to air shows as well. That was the nature of that show, which was, and and myself and the other associate producer at the time, we had to rotate to actually direct the host. who was tricky too. He'd like to play around with us, and we would have to, like, because it was live to tape, we would have to, you know, fill it with music. Or if he went too long, we had to, like, oh my God, we can't talk here. And so he would play with us. So I had all those stresses too. And of course, my father had just died, not that long before that, really, a few years before that. So there was a lot of newness, and I just and the acting thing was fun and exciting. And I thought I might get my hand it on camera because it was kind of fun. So all these things were new. There were so many news. And when I thought, yeah, this will be a hobby because I'm a
Mhm.
serious person. I have to get a serious job,
I'm an
right?
adult. Yeah.
Right. Right. And so CBC was like, oh, CBC. But yeah, so but the core of my nature is I'm kind of a kind of half and half. I'm quite businesslike in a way, and sharp, and I've got a good mind, and yada yada. And the other part of me is very nature based and very creative. So I have a bit of a balance. I like to make sure both are there. And I was using both. So it was a bit confusing, exciting, um, yeah, and challenging all at the same time. But I trust it.
Mm.
You have to let go. I know you guys have to do that all the time. The unpredictabilities and the moment to moment, the fears, the training comes in and then it doesn't, and all the things that happen, those elements. I mean, I can't even compare it to what you guys have done.
Oh, I appreciate it. It's not about us though. It's about you. It's about you. Let's talk about you. But thank
And
you.
you are,
Um, is,
right?
do you recall the first time you kind of saw yourself, whether it was the made for TV movie or the TV episode, like the first time you heard your voice coming through in this media back at you? Do you remember the feeling? Were you disgusted? Were you excited? Were you happy? Were you critical? Where were you at?
Crazy, crazy critical, crazy critical. Yeah, very, very critical because I was such a newbie. I didn't realize the balance about letting go in the performance, which you have to do in order to be able to take direction. And so I mean, I did commercials, and I think it was a Bendorf Verster commercial, which dates me way back. That was like IBM back then. It was like they made photocopy machines and stuff like that. And so that was a commercial that I had heard come back, and I was like, oh my God, was I too? This was like, oh, it's painful. It's really painful. But I mean, they liked it, they used it. It's got to be okay. But when I was practicing, because when I was starting out, I mean, I started to, I actually could write my own commercials too, that I think are still good to this day, actually. And so I would practice going, the next time you take time for breakfast, take a minute for Minute Maid. Minute Maid, the very best way to get a head start to your day, or whatever. And then in my mind, I would be like going, Bendorf first. Like, so they give you the copy, like, they don't even give it to you in advance in those days, really. And they still don't. They do kind of like, you could get it, but the way it was back then is you show up, the copy is on the counter, so you come early. Like, you have to audition for it. Then you say you get the job, and then you come early for the gig. And I did, and go outside, and you don't want to overplay it, but you want to get a sense of it. And they
Mm.
have to, so I was far too rigid in wanting to say it a certain way to make sure it was right, not understanding that you have to let go and just get the gist of it. So I've taught now for decades, and I still teach, and I love teaching, love teaching. And I have so much to share now on that, how to get around that and what to let go of and not worry so much about.
Yeah. At
Too.
the end of the show, we'll plug your stuff because I want people to be able to find you and all that. So we will do that before we get off. One of the questions that always gets asked whenever we're doing these interviews, because for some reason people love to ask, is when you had your first big payday, like or maybe again, this isn't like you work your way up in the business. What was the first big, like, frivolous thing you bought, right? A car, a TV. What was that item? We always get asked every time. We always get asked this from the chat.
Guys do that. Girls save.
Mm. Okay.
Let me just think if there is something. Well, I don't think that it was because of I don't think it was because of the income I made from my acting. It might have been more the income I made from CBC, but
Mm.
just me being a saver, saver, saver from when I first got work as a 16-year-old, um, working as a receptionist at a air conditioning heating company. That's where I got, I guess, the voice there. And I said, well, I'm a saver. I was a saver. I'm, you know, you got to let it go. But I was back then like everybody. So, I mean, I think my first car, I think my first car. But my mom helped me with part of that fee when I was in my 20s. And yeah, and then the rest I paid myself. And then, so I would say that if there was a thing. And I'm not an extravagant shopper. I really actually everybody I kind of hate shopping. I'll go on occasion, for the social event of it, but I don't have like 40,000 pairs of shoes.
Mm.
No. I love quality and I love getting a deal on that quality. I don't have to, I never believe in paying top price, although I have, but not it like that. I don't see the point of that, right? I'm far
Agreed.
more of a, if it's clean and it's a great location, good basic food, good with great people, doesn't have to be 10 stars to me. And if
I
I do
like
on
it.
occasion, great. But yeah, I'm pretty
We
laid back that
we
way.
we would get along great. I feel you on all that. What was the first car? What was it? You remember?
You laugh. It was a great little car. I called it Buster Blue. Buster. It was a little Toyota Tercel standard.
Okay.
And I got that because I mean, obviously I had to think about economy and I knew it was reliable, like a Honda or a Toyota back in those days was reliable. But you're going to laugh because I didn't know how to drive standard when I bought the car. And I coerced the guy to throw in 2 lessons. True story. I knew what car I wanted to buy. I was in town for in Vancouver for 2 years, and did fine without a car. And I thought I need a car. I want a car because I want to explore this area. And I did a lot of research, and I found how much the actual wholesale price was, how much their profit margin was. And I'm not normally that detailed because
Mm.
I don't, but I wanted to get a good detail. So I knew what car I was going to buy. And the day I bought the car, I was all like ready to buy it. I literally had the check in my hand and I thought, well, if they have this car, I'm going to buy it. But I had a terrible cold that day, terrible cold. And I thought, do you want to go now? And I'm like, yeah, go a half hour before closing, get her done. So I went and it turned out they had that car. I said, oh my God, there's the one on the lot. It had nothing, no fixings on it. It was a basic car, right? But it was economical and I could afford it. And so he took me, he goes, I said, is that a standard? He's like, yeah. Okay, great. So he goes, so let's go to the neighborhood. So he taught me, I said, I said, okay, great. And he goes, okay, here you go. And I said, I don't know how to drive it. He's like, excuse me. So he taught me right there and there on how to drive it. And I picked it up in no time. And I said to him, you know what? Because I knew all the research. I said, I'm going to buy, I'll buy this car right here, right now. But this is my bottom line.
Mm.
I have to talk to the manager. I have to talk to the manager. So he talked to them, and I knew that they still would make a profit off me of what I pitched. And he just thought I was hilarious. And he said, okay. And I said, but you have to throw in 2 lessons. And he did. And then he asked me out for dinner.
There,
So
there,
you're getting
there you
the dirt,
go.
bud. You're getting the dirt, everybody.
This is the stuff you can't Google. You can't Google this stuff.
No,
I love it.
I've never had such a great, well, I have had great interviews, but this is a great interview.
I appreciate it. Man, there's so much, and I mean we're already burning through time. What has been your favorite role? And I know I mean you've had so many. Maybe not necessarily what's been the most popular, but just to you, what's been the favorite role that you've had?
There's many favorites. There just simply isn't one.
Mm.
And that includes TV acting. I did some TV acting. Um, and those were kind of smaller gigs. They were guest roles, which was just fine with me. I didn't need to be the golden girl. I played lawyers, and of course, everyone's played reporters. But oh, they're just all swimming through my mind right now. I mean, excuse me, Cyber Six was a real highlight for me because it was one of the first animation series that was the lead was a woman, and
Mm.
it's just so rare, and it still is. And so back in the '90s, I guess it was. Um, Late '80s, early '90s, I guess, we did this, and it was 13 episodes, and we thought for sure it would go on to 26. It still could. I can still do that role, and I can still do. Hiya, Mama! Mama, take shampoo to date. And this was like decades ago. They're like, "Oh, you're too old now. You can't." They didn't say that, but people think we're too old. We can't do the voice. Yes, we can. Nothing's changing for me.
Mm.
I'm just putting that out there. So Cyber Six, I would say, it was so unique and so wonderful, and it was a drama, and it was about this cyber, half human woman who was struggling with her humanity. She had a crush on this teacher. And so by day, she was a teacher, but she disguised herself as a male teacher.
Mhm.
I don't know why. And then at night, she dressed into this outfit and she's jumping on the rooftops, doesn't fly, jumps on the rooftops, and is needing sustenance, which is this goop that this mad scientist had that she needed to live, but at the same time was fighting crime. I mean, and the background was very new for those days. The coloration was like gorgeous oranges and blues and purples and blacks, and the camera angles were cutting edge at the time. And so all of that was new, and it was kind of like a European setting. So I loved that show. Loved that show. It was really great.
That's
But
awesome.
um,
Hashtag bring it back.
I'm ready.
um, how do you find the voice for characters, right? Because I'm assuming if it's some type of, again, like a dub, and maybe trying to match a little bit of what that character is, but when they come to you and say, "Hey, this is a whole new character. There's nothing that exists on it, excuse me, in the world." How do you find the voice for that character?
A lot of it is um, you have to begin with the things they request from you. So they provide you with a description of various things. There's a show outline in general. There's other characters that you can look into see what they do, what they're doing, how they interact. But they give you a very general description, very basic, not much general description, but your character, and most times have a diagram. In the old days, we wouldn't even have pictures of the characters. Sometimes we just had the description. So you would just sort of formulate that. And if there's a picture, I always say to my students, an actor would just kill for the picture alone, even if there's no information, because you get a feeling from that character and you can be that character and you can just be what you are within it. It's a lot easier. It gets very heady with too much definition, and you don't want to lock in case the clients have a different idea. So usually I just kind of say, okay, I have to meet that mark and I have to meet that mark with respect to the type of character. But the rest of it's got to be in this range. This is the age they're talking about. Let's go. So if I'm doing ages, like if I'm doing female girls or youth, and like it's more older now because I'm an older age, even though I can still do it, everybody. Um, then I have to play in that range. But then, Mike, they've got authentic acting, authentic character voicing versus character voicing, and there's all those levels. So in some cases they really want to make it real, and in other cases there's lots of room to be a little bit more cartoony. So there's that too. And you
Wow.
just kind of go after time having so much experience, you just know where to cut the corners, and that's what they probably want. But it takes time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I know from speaking with other voice actors, and we've had some really great ones, like Rob Paulson's been on the show, and God, I love him. Grew up Pinky in the Brain. Come on. The the amount of stress that puts on you, that this puts on you physically. I mean, how do you prepare yourself for a session? What's your kind of routine to get ready for this?
Um, I would say, I mean, that has certainly changed over decades, right? Because now it's old hat in some ways. I mean, everything's new, and you still have the respect and the dedication and the ethics that you need to have to do a good job. But when I was much younger, there were so many unknowns, and there was a lot more competition in the way that you're not knowing the atmosphere or the whatevers of, you just don't know what. So you're doing the best you can, and so it's a little bit more stressful, definitely. But now, I mean, I've done so many of them that there's a rhythm. So when I get an audition for an animation part, I look over it, the description. I get a sense of how that character plays within the other characters, or what their role is, or what their personality is based on the description. And then I read the script that we're given, the audition that we're giving, to get a sense of the interplay. And then I just try to be as fluid as possible. I think it's very important for any actor to see what comes before and after your lines, to see if there's any action happening. You're completely responsible as an actor to be able to make sure that all the action is in your performance. So I teach this in my workshops too, and also in the private coaching. Like if you're jumping off a cliff, you have to like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and then you got to do the and you have to know how high that might be. So all those things, those little nuances are important. A smile shows up in the performance, right? But so does reflection and acting that's very intimate. little tricks, like if you're behind a rock and you're whispering, you can't whisper as if I'm whispering to you, just we're talking in your room there. It would be, you have to keep tone to that. So if I'm behind a rock, David, I told you not to go. Listen to me. That's a whisper talk.
Mm.
Whereas, don't go, David, like that. It just doesn't. So you learn those tricks as well. Stress would only come if the character perhaps was really just out of my range, but I can do it, which means there could be taxation on that throat if we're doing
Mm.
26 or 52 episodes. That's a
Yeah.
real.
Here,
Um,
here I was like, I'm thinking, oh, a glass of lemon, but I like your answer, lemon water. I was thinking that's how I prepare. Your
yeah,
answer was way better,
yeah.
way better.
Well, no, because there's more. There's so much more that people don't understand
Mhm.
that makes you nervous, right? It's not just, does your voice going to cut? And by the way, room temperature water is the best thing. Room
Room
temperature
temperature
water
water.
or
Oh,
hot
I
in the
like it.
winter.
Because I've heard I've heard the craziest things. They're like, throat spray and, they suck on a lemon and all this and all that. So I'm always curious.
I mean, maybe that's what helps certain people. It comforts them. But honestly, coffee. I mean, I drink coffee in the studio. I love coffee. It's my wine. But I'll only like maybe have one or so because it can dry you out. It doesn't bother me, but for some people it would. You don't want to do milk. You don't want to do gummy stuff, and even like like pop and stuff because it's gummy and it produces phlegm, right? You don't want that. And things that are cold, really, really cold, is going to tighten your cords. So I know that stuff. But I just say, don't have any dairy before you go in there, really, and just have room temperature water. I have coffee, but for me, it's fine. Right.
What do you think, Coach? Do I have the talent? Could I get into this line of work? Do I have the voice for it?
Talk to Matt Hill. Do you know who he is?
No.
Matt Hill?
Who's Matt Hill?
Matt Hill's got a fabulous raspy voice. You've got that texture, Mike. So what you would, so yeah, you've got that. Come on, you guys, let's go, dude. Like Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Like you'd fit in there perfect.
I grew up on that stuff, man. You're talking my era, the Spider-Man cartoon, the Batman cartoons where he's all deep and raspy and like, oh, love that stuff growing up.
The thing is, like, so you've got a nice texture just as is. But what's important is that you can tax that. It can be taxed because yours is still light, but it's got texture. So you have to make sure that you support with tone. You have to support it with your tone because you could lose your voice relatively quickly if you're doing something taxing for a long, long period of time. So
Mm.
tone is everything for you. And we don't really use our diaphragm like singers do unless we're yelling and screaming for a long period of time. You have to support it, otherwise you're going to be projecting from your neck and not realize that, and you could lose your voice. You have to watch for notes, not you per se, but
Right. No, I've seen videos of like Kevin Conroy, who's famous for doing the Batman voice, and how he just slips in and out of it. Like you don't see like he's I'm forcing it. Like it's instant change, and or even like Mark Hamill doing the Joker. You would think
yeah,
like he strains and like all like no, it just comes out instantly. It's
yeah,
incredible. Yeah.
because their performance, they were chosen for many reasons, but they have it's in their natural range, so they're not straining to retain that. They're just going to get whatever they have in their mind of the voice they want. They're just going to get the actor where that's their natural range because then there's no straining,
Yeah. No, that
right?
makes perfect sense. That makes
Yeah,
perfect sense. And
yeah.
I'm going on record. Kathy, she said I could do a Ninja Turtle. I'm clipping that. I'm keeping it forever.
Audition, okay? I'm going to tell you, you still have to audition, okay?
I got,
I have to audition for everything, almost everything, not everything. Come on.
I'm putting that on my resume. Kathy said I can do a Ninja Turtle. That's it. I'm
I
going
have
for
so
that.
much power.
So I mean, on top of everything we've already discussed, you've also done voice work for video games,
Yeah.
and that's where most people, the layperson, might consider that to be that's the same thing. You're doing a voice for a character. I happen to know it's very different. I mean, can you describe just like what is the biggest differences in doing video game work versus animated or other things?
Well, I mean, I think I mean, quite honestly, the performance is similar. Although the actual recording session is different because they want you to do smaller bites. They want you to do, so usually they're shorter phrases, but as far as the performance, it's the same approach as animation. But but what they're requiring are, you know, um, let's take this one sentence 3 times, short, medium, long. And then there's a library, which we do in animation too. We do a voice library of grunts, of runs, of jumps, of exerts, and things like that. So they're much smaller, the sentences really that we do for video games, because it's like, eat my dust or whatever, and like, um, oh yeah, take that, big guy, because I'm gonna just blah blah blah, right? Or whatever. Like, so they're shorter, but
Mm.
that's all I would say. And then they have to code them. They have to code them. I mean, there's all the work where animatics and things like that, where people have to dress up and they're suspended and stuff like that. I haven't done much of that, no, for video gaming, but that is another whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, they're
Eh,
just the approach is the same. As
okay.
far
And because I know, especially more today, a lot of video games with with the power and the animation studios, like they want to do the motion capturing, and
as
so people doing the voices sometimes have to put on the suit and do that. And I'm sure that's a lot more. That's a lot more closer to acting than voice acting.
well, the motion capture, those guys are mostly doing the physicality for the animators rather than the voicing.
Mm.
And it's interesting when animators ask us, or I think an animator, I've had animators direct shows before. Their questions are somewhat different than a actual voice director who does it in the standard way, because they are looking at design, so they have action in their head. So they're always thinking about that part of it, which is interesting because I can understand why they would ask us that. So therefore, I'm always thinking more of action and performance. When you've got a voice director that has animation background, you're very aware of the action that you're performing, which you'd have to be anyway, but
Right.
it matters to them even a little bit more. Yeah. So
Makes sense.
that's very interesting.
So I mean, you've done, again, we've said so many things, but one thing I mean I have to spotlight, and we teased it earlier, is My Little Pony, because
Mm.
now I'll be honest, personally, I'm not familiar with the material. I have maybe
Mike,
maybe in passing I might have seen an episode or two, but I can't. I'm not a brony.
you're what?
I'm
Yeah,
not.
military bronies.
I know just how popular it is. I'm well aware in the pop culture realm of just how significant it is and how big a following it has.
Mhm.
I'm When you first got involved with the My Little Pony, were you aware of how big of a following it had or might have in the future? Is that something that comes into your mind at all when taking something like this?
Not at all. Not at all. This was another show of many shows that we have to audition for, that we try out for in the way we always do for every show that we do to get work. It's work. And we had no idea. We didn't even know what was happening. I mean, I remember the very day I went into the studio, and I think it was Andrea and Tabitha were in there, Tabitha St. Germain and Andrea Libman. And one of them had said, "Did you see that this Canadian Maclean's magazine on a group called Bronies?" And I'm like, "What? What?" And apparently, and so that's when it started. We're like, "What?" And so we were like, "What is this? What is happening?" Right? And it just grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. And so I have a minor in sociology. So this fascinated me on a completely different level. And I just got so interested and so involved in that I was actually eventually I started to do some talks, because separately from me, sociologists were studying this,
Mhm.
psychologists were studying this, people were fascinated. And I mean, it was such a wonderful, authentic, visceral movement that this show created, that helped people heal people, bronies in particular at the time. But also, it was such a wonderful show. The morals and values were genuine. Nobody disses anybody. It's okay to have issues. That just brings interest and things we can learn from, as opposed to discrimination. So this show was something that never happened before, and I loved it. But no, we never knew that, and so I wanted to explore that. And I got involved with talks so much so I got to know the sociologist, and we did a talk in New Jersey on the Jersey Shores. We did one there in 20 I think it's 2017. It was just fascinating, and I'm still interested in it. What was it? What was it? Was my question that ignited so many people of this designation and more all of a sudden. And it was because the group of these people who, in one way, shape, or form, did not feel that they belonged or felt not secure in who they were or in their community, had had abuse, were frightened, or were just interested in the show itself and its wonderful innovations because it was really a cool show the way it was written. They would adopt things from movies like The Big Lebowski and throw jokes in. Like they had all these weird things that were really cool. And thank you, Lauren Faust, the creator. She did a great job. So yeah, we had no idea, and then it exploded. And I think I know this sounds so mamby-pamby to some people, but understood by others, is that it has to do with heart and it has to do with acceptance. And so these people, this is what brings me to tears to this day. These people who watch this show were given so much by the show that they were literally able to come out from their isolation, be able to tell someone else about it, which was a big motivation for people isolated, make friends with other people who felt the same way, and then actually come out into the world, go out and see these conventions, start to explore friendships, start to explore their talents, and to feel safe in doing so. And that exploded and exploded and exploded. And the next thing you know, we're literally having an authentic en masse healing. People were brought back from suicide time and time again. And if that ain't something that is worth mentioning and worth working on, sharing in, being a part of, I don't know what could be, because no one could really explain that uh, energy of love and acceptance in the way that this show did. And it's that generation. My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, Generation 4.
Yeah.
It left me changed, you know. So
I
it's
it,
wonderful.
it's so incredible. Again, from the outside, just looking in, and I've always being a comic book fan and cartoon fan, and growing up on this stuff and loving conventions and things like that. I've never been once like, oh, how weird you like a cartoon, like because like I like Spider Man. I like I like Bat. Who am I to judge about liking a cartoon or a comic or a thing or a video game or whatever it is? I never got into it, but I've always heard such positive, uplifting things. And part of me does wonder. Again, the content's great, so we're not taking away that the content's great and all that's great. But I also wonder too sometimes, like, to capture magic in a bottle, is it like where is the world in that moment, right? Where's technology? Like, certain things became popular because it was at the advent of the internet and groups, and you could form those cliques where you couldn't before, and so like
Right.
it hit this perfect storm of where
Absolutely.
everything was right there and ready to happen. But again, not to take away, because there's other cartoons at that time. There's other content at the time. People could have bounded around anything. But something about that show in particular really spoke to people. For instance,
Yes.
I know you had a big part in Dragon Ball Z, which was one of my favorite all-time things growing up. I have Funko Pops back there, and you got to voice a number of characters. Namely, one was Trunks, which was my favorite character growing up. Something about the purple hair and the sword. I know you did the young version, but that was always my favorite character, and that was my introduction in the '90s to Japanese anime. And so the kind of the hopping off for me, and I know so many other people at that point.
Hmm.
And again, that's one of those shows that uh, even for those that are not anime fans, you'd be hard pressed to find people that, oh, I don't know what Dragon Ball Z is. Like it was such a part of mainstream culture that
Yeah. It was.
adults knew it, parents knew it, grandparents knew it, kids knew it. Whether you watched it or not, you knew it. You knew Goku, you knew Vegeta, you knew these characters that were larger than life. Are you at all blown away to see how popular it still is today, having played such a big part of it?
Yes and no. I mean, because the whole My Little Pony experience, for example, uh, occurred, and there still is no explanation for it. I mean, I think I have my own version of explanation of that. But I think any of these things that do take off like that, like you said, it's a coming together of many elements and the times, and so much of that is unspoken. It's visceral. It's visceral, and so it doesn't surprise me when any real project or movie or film or series or whatever, it takes off because it's appealing to a certain group of people, maybe not others, but it is appealing to something that's needed at that time. And I really think because I mean, Dragon Ball Z, that was a long time ago, but it was also very, very new anime. So it was kind of new and like, what is this? This is cool. And like, I mean, I don't think I've ever done so much of this in my life in midair, like it's just crazy town, right? I always say that Dragon Ball Z was like the most exhausting, one of the most exhausting shows because we're always doing so much action. We're rolling down hills and we're fighting each other and like, oh my God, right? And I was young, thank God. Still can do it. But I mean, with the My Little Pony thing, just to bring it back to that, I really do having wanted to go into sociology in a way outside of the composer stuff. Like I wanted to blend them. It was a critical mass. I think there had a lot. It had a lot to do with identity, male identity in some ways, but not just male identity. Machoism versus sensitivity versus what if I'm a sensitive man and I'm not a macho guy? What if I am gay? I'm not gay. What if? What if? What if? There's all this stuff about identity and labeling and all this sort of thing. And yet, what it really was a massive healing. It was a massive healing and permission. You're okay. It's okay to be you. And then there's this, like, right. So I think with all the things happening and the wars happening and the changes happening and now climate change happening, there's just so like, who the heck are we? And so to me, see, in the old days, identity came from role models and role modeling, right? That's how we knew who we were, what we were supposed to do, how we act, how we behaved, the etiquettes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Now anything goes. So what's the commonality? Human nature, heart. We all hurt, we all desire, we all are sad, we all have our needs and our troubles and our questions, etc. So that's what makes us human. That's our commonality. It has nothing to do with gender. It has nothing to do with status. It has nothing to do with career. It has nothing to do with anything. We're all the same. Our experiences, our influences, what we come across are all different, but at core, we're the same. And so, how do we behave in this world? Where's our guidance then if we don't have roles? Ethics, kindness, generosity to anybody, not anyone because of status, what they have, what they don't have, who they are, what they dress like, nothing. Kindness. This is the thing about My Little Pony. Elements of harmony were generosity and kindness, and I'm going to forget them.
It's been a
Magic
minute.
them too. And so all these things is what so everything just blurred out, and that was our gauge, being kind to one another
Mm.
because we're human.
Wow.
So I think that all those things were what was happening for that at that time.
Wow. I can't believe it. We've been talking for an hour, which is incredible. You are a phenomenal, and I could talk to you all day. Do you want to do a couple quick lightning round, super fast questions, and we'll call it a day?
You bet.
Thank you so much for your time because this has been such a good. People
Pleasure.
need to hear this. People need to hear this. Okay.
Great.
So you do a lot of conventions. What's off the top of your head? What's the most memorable fan interaction you had, good or bad?
I'm just wondering if I can say it.
You can.
Um, well, there was one that was heart wrenching and heartfelt, and it involved an individual. And this is not the only time. It involved an individual that was having an incredible struggle. And I had come off of some of my own stuff with extended family and challenges that just came out of the blue that were very intense, very, very trying and challenging. And I was able to bring that to the table at this convention out of the blue. And so someone had asked me would I be able to speak to them, and they were very like wonderful, wonderful person. And I had no idea that my influence that day prevented them from taking their life.
Wow.
And that was one story. They're not alone. That was not an isolated story, by the way. And so I tie that in with the fans that come to me, who are quadriplegics. They wait in line for 2 hours of my time, and we're only supposed to go like an hour and a half or whatever the schedule is. I mean, we're going 2 hours now, but I think it was over that. I think it was 2.5 hours, maybe longer, at the last BronyCon. This is the main Brony convention. It was the last one in Baltimore. They were so big they had to be in Baltimore. And I waited that 2 and some hours just to wait because they waited. I'm not gonna look at my watch and go, "Oh, time's up." No, no. And so those kinds of things, meeting those kind of people that have the dedication to come, they're paraplegic, they can't move, they can't speak, they have tubes in them, they're traumatized, or they traveled like billions of miles to get here. That touches me, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. So there's many of those. The other one was just that I think it was in one of the times I was in Ohio. I stole the walkie-talkie from the assistants, and I did it as my voice of Spike, and they had to find me. So it was just a stupid thing, but it was just hilarious.
I love that. You got to have fun with it. Okay. Trying to think of quick questions. So you've done so many different types of roles, gender, age, all of it. Is there anything on like an acting bucket list that you haven't yet gotten a chance to do that you'd like to do? Maybe a musical character?
I don't, it's funny because I don't think in those terms. No. I mean, because every character role that comes to me is unique and different and interesting and has different challenges. So that fulfills that. But no, there's no I wish this or I wish that. I love doing like no, I mean, I used to be a cartoony actor. And I can still do stuff like this all the time. Like, I did a ton of that stuff. It's not crap. Way back in the day. And I don't do as much of that. And I'm like, come on, I can still do that. So, but there, you go for what the roles are there, and it's very hard because you have a certain amount of time where things can get pulled out of you. There's a lot of actors out there now, etc. So, always looking for interesting and different stuff, but happy to do the standards too.
Gotcha. What is something that you did, you're super proud of it? Maybe for whatever reason, people didn't get to see it. You wish they would go back and watch it just because you were so passionate about it.
Definitely Cyber Six.
That was-
Definitely Cyber Six because it was left as a hanging thing, but it had really, really amazing moments and real teaching moments and heartfelt moments. And My Little Pony too. Like, I mean, one of my favorite episodes, I'm always asked this of Friendship is Magic, is the times they are a changeling. It was Spike is so naive and he's a cute little guy, but he's brave. It was so beautifully written. It was funny, really funny episode. And so everybody in the kingdom are worried about changelings because they change and you never know, and they might be after the baby because they suck off joy and harmony, right? And so Spike's like like the sentries were going to go out and find this changeling out there, and Spike wanted to go, right? So the honorable Spike, what should we do? And he's like, go that way, and you guys go that way, and go that way. And he's kind of like afraid of his own shadow and stuff. It was just, and it brought in friendship. And so the thorax was the alien, and he was shy and nervous, and he really just wanted a friend. He didn't want to do any harm, like all the morals and values. And my character got to sing a song that had an I think actual string orchestra. It was recorded, but I was able to sing a beautiful song, beautiful, heart wrenching song in that. So that was really memorable, and people can watch that. But there's so many
We're
things.
gonna we're gonna we're gonna put links to all this so people can find it. Okay, a couple more. So we've seen over time, when the market gets saturated with certain things, there tends to be some kind of burnout. So like zombies were a hot commodity for a minute, and vampires are a hot commodity. I think you more than anyone have such an expertise and experience in the field of cartoons and these kind of things. Do you think with the rise of popularity in superhero genre right now, Marvel, DC, all these things, do you think that we're coming close to or will ever see kind of a superhero burnout?
That's interesting question. Wow. I think so, if I understand your question correctly, in the way that it's being done now, which is a lot, I won't say of the same, but
Mm,
it's kind of
similar.
maybe similar in what the model is. Because to me, the superheroes are no longer those superheroes. Superheroes today are people who have stamina. Like superheroes to me are you guys, the military guys, 100%. The people that look after their loved ones who are quadriplegics, the service worker that puts in you know, insane hours a day and is going overtime and leaving their children at home to care for somebody who's dying because of COVID and their loved one can't phone them. I mean, the heroes, these are the heroes, including obviously the military and the defense, of course. But there are common folk who are heroes every single day of this life in this world, and they need to be celebrated. And that's us. That's us. We need to acknowledge the humanitarian things that we do for one another and the challenges that we have. One person could be on paper, wow, look what they did. Wow, look what they suffered. But what about the internal struggles, the mental health that nobody can get into and see on those quiet times when somebody is suffering so badly and no one can get into them, inside them? And yet they survive. And not only do they just surviving makes them a hero. I mean, that terminology is just so right. So the definition of hero is very different for me now.
That was perfect. Well said. We're gonna end it on that because that was beautiful. I wanna end it on that. Where can so this is the last question actually. Where can people follow you on social media? Where can they check out what you've got going on, and where can they show love and support to you?
I'm only on two social media platforms. So I'm on Twitter and Instagram. And Twitter is at Cathy Weseluck, and Instagram is Cathy_Weseluck. And they're both a lot of fun. I mean, Instagram, I do a lot of, you'll see the nature side of me. I'm very sentimental. I love photography. And so a lot of things get posted like that there. Supportive, healing, wonderful, just scenery, fabulous stuff. And also postings when I'm doing appearances. And Twitter too is just a continuation on my fan base. So those two in particular. I still do private coaching online at this time for COVID and just my schedule. So that's still occurring. And I hope to open a bit more of that. And I do not have an official website. It's a website posting. And so it needs to be updated as well, terribly. And I'm afraid I have an email that's cwvoice@telus.net that is specifically and only for that reason, pretty much. Or people can try and contact my talent agency, which is the Characters in Vancouver, British Columbia, for fan mail, but also to get any more information. But on Instagram and Twitter, you'll find everything that needs to be said further of any appearances or conventions I'm going to.
Awesome. Oh, Cathy, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your time. This was incredible. You, my goodness, my throat today. Talking to a voice actor, and I can't get my voice right. You have been honest and open and humble, and this has been an incredible conversation. I want to give you the last 5 seconds to say goodbye to the audience, and then I will toss it to a break.
I just want to say I love you guys and girls and women and youth. You are the backbone of our society in the honor and the focus and the heart and the vulnerability you bring to your job and your service. So I want to thank you with all my heart. And for all of those who can't say it, even within your families, in your regimes, I'm saying it for them too. So take care of yourselves. Don't be hard on yourselves. Love yourselves and give yourselves room and space to be who you are outside of this. It's really important. We love you and care about you. And those who are struggling, you're going to be okay. So we're with you. And continue to have fun. Nature, and I say this delicately, I don't mean this in any opposition to anything, but nature is truly my religion. And so there's a lot of healing to be done there. Have fun, enjoy the simple things in life, and stay with heart, choose love.
Words to live by. This has been Cathy Weseluck. Thank you so much. We'll be back with more right after this.
Thanks, everyone.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, you there. Yeah, it is right, you. Let me ask you something, alright? Where the hell do you think that you're going? Oh, what do you think because the show's going to commercial that means you get to just walk away? Well, CQ asked me to pass on the little message, alright? And it says, I'll be back.
Hey, everybody, we're back. Let's bring our favorite co-host back in the mix. Everybody say hi, Mr. Radar.
Hi, Radar.
Wait, why didn't you come back?
Where'd I go? Hi, Radar.
Come back. Radar, come back. I can hear you. We can
Hi,
hear
Radar.
you. We'll just keep trying over and over until you just went to you guys all Stan, appreciate you, man. Thank you. Stan the man. Why isn't Radar coming back? Come back to me, Radar. Come back.
Hi, Radar. I'm trying.
There he
I'm
is.
doing the things.
There
Hi,
he
Radar.
is.
Hi.
That was weird.
That's
That was
me.
weird. Bit of a
Hi,
glitch.
Radar.
Woo! Oh man, thanks, Dan. I do need a raise. So if I get 100% raise from 0, that puts me at what?
100% of nothing's nothing, baby.
That's right. And you know what? I say we triple it. Me and Radar deserve it. We're gonna triple our current the amount of money we currently make. Anyway, man, what a great man. I really enjoyed talking with Cathy, man. She was phenomenal. What a great conversation. I mean, the knowledge she was dropping was ridiculous. I at one point asked her, was it like, oh, what do you do to prepare? Expecting like a glass of water with some lemon in it. And she went on that monologue that
Right.
was so good with everything and the details and the emotions and the character. Oh, so good. And I'm clipping it. She totally said I could be a Ninja Turtle. Like I could
Which
be
one?
a Ninja Turtle, guys. Cowabunga, dude.
Which
I
Ninja
could
Turtle
totally
would
do
you
that.
be?
Michelangelo. Oh, God. Easily. Oh, without a doubt. Without a
Alright.
doubt. She's a CQ fan. I'm a Cathy fan. She was incredible.
Yeah, she was.
All right. Well, guys, we've been going at it. It is almost 30 after, midway through the hour, and I am pooped.
Yes.
But just wanted to remind you guys, there will be no show next week. Stay
There's
tuned.
something to talk about anyway.
I'll be posting a bunch of stuff for.
Wait, hold on a minute.
What's up?
I sent you something to talk about.
I know.
And we haven't
first of all,
talked
a
about
lot of people send me things to talk about.
Yeah, but a lot of people aren't on the fucking show.
Okay. Would you like
Just
to talk
saying.
about it, Radar?
Well, did I send it to you, right?
Yeah, you did.
Violent Night.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you pull up the thing for it?
I
The
did.
preview?
I did. The trailer. Yep.
We're gonna watch it?
I mean, personally, I felt it was too early in the year to watch it. I felt like that's a thing that maybe midway through November we pull it up and have some fun with it. I felt like we're not even at Halloween yet, man. You're like the guy that wants to put up his Christmas tree in September.
I'm not trying to put up my Christmas tree. I'm trying to bring to both of our viewers after the interview. Everyone's like, now the interview's over. They're shutting the fucking show down. We're out. So I thought it'd be a perfect time to break out the one thing that I wanted to talk about for the last fucking 3 weeks. Violent Night.
Says you need a lightsaber so we can fight. You can fight the little bubble.
All right. I'll give you that. We'll wait. Stan says November 1st. I'm actually going to wait a little bit after that because that's going to be our Halloween show, right?
That's our
November
Halloween
1st is
show.
Halloween
The week after that. That's what I'm saying. That there's a natural order
then
to these
everyone's
things.
going to know about it, and it won't be breaking news anymore.
Well, sometimes we don't do breaking news. Sometimes we just do trendy.
Sometimes we should.
And sometimes we do.
We should be the tip of the spear when it comes to violent Christmas movies.
We are a 2-hour show once a week. It's impossible to be breaking news. I think in the 3 years we've done this twice, I was like, wow, an hour ago, they just mentioned this thing. Let's talk about it. I'm like, it's never going to be breaking news here. Let's be honest. The goal of this show, let's be real. The goal of this show has never been to be breaking news. It was meant to be, hey, here's all the things that happened this week that maybe you missed. Now, sometimes it was from 2 or 3 weeks ago, but we talk about it because it's relevant in the moment.
Yeah, but it's going to be like 2 months later.
I mean, guy, it ain't going to be released yet, so it's still ahead of the time.
But we still talk about like all this other crap that's fucking coming out.
Right.
It's not even released yet. We probably didn't even talk about it.
That's what I'm saying, but we have time to talk about it. That's what I'm saying. Radar's just butthurt because the one thing he's like, I want to talk about.
I found something and I was excited about it, and it looks not that good, if I'm honest.
I mean, hey.
But I found it. I brought it to the table, and you're just like, I feel like the person that bought like the burnt peach cobbler to like the church picnic or some shit.
It's like
I'm so proud of it, and everyone else is like, nah, we don't want your peach cobbler, Radar.
I made this. Try it. No, I'm good.
That's what I say about my kids. I'm like, look, I made this, and everyone's like, no, we don't want that.
Put it back. Throw it away. No, yeah, we'll definitely talk about it. I mean, it made me laugh. I don't know if it's that's the thing. I don't know if it's meant to be for those that don't or not catching what we're putting down. There's a trailer for a movie.
Just play it.
I don't have it prepped. Prepped.
There's like 3 people in us. Like, wait a minute.
3 people. Dick. How dare you, sir? Insulting the integrity of my show. Violent Night is a horror-esque take on the Christmas Santa Claus trope. I mean, like, you know, he's a vengeful guy who kills. Which we had. What was the one we had with Mel Gibson? Not so Fat Man.
Yeah, Fat Man was fucking good.
I mean, I wouldn't say it was good. I would say it was
2 weeks ago. Official trailer came out.
Yeah. Okay.
I sent it to you.
I know you did.
It's 2 minutes and 43 seconds.
I know it is. Yeah. Well, see that, and Scott, that's exactly my point. Like, it seems like an action movie, but I don't know. For some reason, I felt like it was being pushed as a horror, not necessarily a horror, but more like maybe like a thriller. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Like suspense.
Yeah, like it looks kind of more like thriller-esque. It's not really I wouldn't put it horror.
It's thriller-esque.
Though.
Anyway,
yeah, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. That's right.
That's another one. Yeah, that's horror. That is straight up horror retelling of the Winnie the Pooh story in straight up gore. Yeah, Charles just said 2 minutes ago. I want you to review the Winnie the Pooh movie, Blood and Honey. Oh, don't make me watch that. That's just. Don't ask me to watch that. Oh man, can we watch the trailer for Die Hard? I want to talk about Die Hard. Okay, Rob. Okay, well,
I forgot about that.
2 weeks from now, after our Halloween special, we're gonna watch.
It's gonna be stale then.
No,
after
have
the
Halloween
Tomatoes score by then.
We're gonna watch the Violent Night trailer. We're gonna watch the Die Hard trailer, so we can talk about that.
The Die Hard trailer.
Oh man. Anyway.
Hey, what about that new Creed movie that's coming out? After Creed's coming out after freaking Violent Night. You made us watch that.
Hey, do you want to run this thing or do you want me to run this thing?
I don't know. Khan says I deserve better.
Cause
or more. He
you're
said
this,
more.
you're
But
this.
he's right. You are unmanageable.
All right, all of y'all, pipe down.
No, it's fine. We don't even want to
God damn
watch
it.
we already talked
It's
about
my
it now.
show. I will do
everybody's-
things the way I want to do them, and you will
Everyone's
sit
just
there
left.
and you will like it.
Everyone just left to go watch the Violent Night trailer.
Oh well, I guess then we don't need to do your part then.
Guess not.
But yes,
Oh.
so please, guys, one last time, won't have a show next week. Stay tuned to the social media because I'll post up stuff about what we're doing. And then the week after, we have the big Halloween spooktacular episode. And I'm going to put it all over the social medias. I'm going to make sure the social media team posts it out. We need costume pictures so we can give stuff away because I have too much crap and I want to give it away. Because, yes. And I think I'm going to wear a costume.
I don't think I am this year. I'm out of costumes.
Put a paper bag over your head.
That's what my wife
And you can be baghead. That'll be your costume this year. Just baghead. I like it.
I was gonna do the kids want to do inflatable ones this year, and I can't do it in the on the radio. It would be too loud.
Yeah, it'd be very loud.
Pretty loud. Yeah.
You won't hear anything.
And I have like literally the cheapest microphone you can buy off Amazon, so it's not gonna bode well with that. I should buy a new microphone.
You should.
I was going to.
All right. Charles, you want to watch the trailer of Beetlejuice next time too? Sure. Why not? Streets of Fire is the greatest movie and trailer of all time. We'll watch that. You know what? Everybody just put your what trailers you want.
No, it's fine.
We're going to do an entire...
Because we're going to...
No,
No,
listen.
because here's the deal. We can put a list together. We can compile a list.
That's what I'm saying.
Send you the links, and you still won't play it.
No. That's what I'm saying. Right here, right now. Test me. Y'all, you want to test me? Test me.
No, it's fine.
Put all the
test
shits in the chats. 2 weeks... We're going to do the Halloween episode because I'm not going to miss out the Halloween episode. Episode after that, we're going to do CQ watches trailers. And it's going to be 2 hours of me just sitting and watching all the trailers of all the movies that you guys want to watch.
I have an idea. Okay. On the bottom of the screen, we need to remember the Mystery Science Theater 3000 guys? We need to put like us down there doing that. And then we can commentate on the things as it's happening.
Okay.
Just go from trailer to trailer to trailer, and we'll commentate.
Yes.
As it's happening.
Should there be an order to it? Should it be like chronological? Should it be by genre?
It'd be better to just put them in your random generator. Put them in your random generator, have it spin, and then pick one. You know what I mean? And then have it come off the list. Right, and just go through. We'll get like 10 or 15 or 20, however many you want to get.
Do you realize how much work that will be for me? Do you realize?
You got like 3 weeks.
and
put your lightsaber down. You just run around the house with your lightsaber and a bottle of lotion for some reason. Just put that shit down. And
why are you telling people my personal business? I tell you that in confidence.
There it just glows, and you get that look in your eye, and I don't even.
I'm dead serious. If this is something you guys want, if this is something you want, I see Rob is already like trailer show.
Oz is right. We're gonna have an entire show of copyright violations. Is what we're gonna have.
Hey, I'll do it. I don't care. Charles says you just tripled your pay. Might as well.
It's true.
Fair enough. I got to do 3 times the work because I just tripled my pay. Somebody clip that, send it to Ice.
No,
okay,
but genuinely, we should do that. That'd be fun.
That's what we're doing. I'm right now, here and now, I'm making the declaration. Our next episode's a Halloween episode.
Yes.
The episode after that, we are doing nothing but watching trailers, and I think we should put boundaries in it. Like not recent, like. Go back and just and watch classic trailers. Watch trailers for like the worst movies possible. Just run the gambit, right? Because you could do classics like Die Hard, but then do like fucking Purple People Eaters from Outer Space or something like that. Like just random horrible trailers too. Sharknado.
Shark-
There you go. That's a perfect
Sharknado has
example.
trailers.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Really?
They have trailers. Yeah. I think that's what we're going to
I
do.
don't hate. I think we got to have the new ones sprinkled in there too.
I guess.
No, I mean you don't got to have it all that.
Like that's what they. But this is the whole point is that this is not a typical episode, and we do those things in typical
But-
episodes.
Don't do them in all the time because I want to do one tonight. But
No,
but that's what I
I'm
mean.
intentionally
Have it
now
all-
never going to show the trailer for Violent Night. Just so you know, intentionally now, just to screw with you, I will continue to promise we're going to do
So
it.
if anybody
and then never do it.
anybody's listening, if you want to go to WTFNationRadio.com, go to join our team and apply to be the co-host for Tuesday night show.
There you go. You got to leave and go get your own show, and you can. The first thing I want you to do when you have your own show is like, welcome to Radar's show. We're now gonna watch on loop the Violent Night trailer for 2.5 hours.
It's
That's
gonna
what I
be my
want.
background music. I'm gonna throw up the break, and the break is just the trailer for.
Yep, exactly, exactly. Oh goodness. All right, well, hey, we've got the next 2 shows of content already planned, so I'm ahead of the game.
There you go.
You guys have hashtag Violent Night. It's about to be a violent night if Radar doesn't pipe
I
down.
fucking heard it.
It's about to be a violent night. I got a lightsaber. I'm ready. All right.
Got a lightsaber and a bottle of lotion.
Enough shenanigans. Mr. Radar,
Yes.
would you like to tell the fine folks at home what they could expect from a
Tell what they
typical
fucking
week?
not expect. That's a Violent Night trailer.
When they can expect to see the Violent Night trailer
Barely fucking
here
remember.
on WTF Nation Radio.
So tomorrow is the Wednesday night nothingness that's going to be the Violent Night trailer someday. And Thursday is going to be Soul Arts time with Ice Spanky, talking about all things National Guard, active duty, reserves, big army, you name it, they talk about it. Retirees. Hey, big pay jump if you're retired. Congratulations. Or if you get a VA, was it 8.6% or something?
Something like that.
It's fucking big. Biggest in like 40 years. Too bad inflation's like 12%, but we won't talk about that. Anyway, so Friday night, you got Friday Night Freedom, Kaz and Pookie. Kaz is gonna be kind of busy the next couple weeks, so shows might be kind of spotty, but he promises to be there as much as he can. So, and then Friday or Saturday, Sunday, we have Donza days no scheduled activities. We don't do a whole lot. We do very little. We hang out with our families. You guys should do the same. Enjoy your friends and family, and your lightsaberness. Monday night, the aptly named Monday edition, Ice and Shipwreck. We'll talk about current events and all kinds of fun shit. And then Tuesday night, you'll be here with him, CQ, me, Radar, with and spoiler alerts.
In trailers. Lots and lots of trailers.
Lots of trailers. So, trailers and spoilers and Halloween costumes.
Man.
No show next week.
No show next week.
The week after, wear your costumes. Hang
Send
out
us
with your wang
pictures.
out here with us. Don't send pictures of your wang out.
Not your wang, the costumes. Send pictures of the costumes. Please, God, no. I've seen enough. I was in the army. I've seen enough dicks in my life. God,
No such thing.
don't need any more. All righty. Ladies and gentlemen, have you had fun tonight? No
lot
show
more fun.
November. Should I just do a no show November? Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me.
Are we gonna
I'll-
do no shade November?
I am only because, and I'm just always honest. For my Halloween costume this year, I will have to shave completely. And at that point, I like to grow in my winter beard. So for me, it's going to be no shave November, December, January, February. But that's just me. Well, I mean, I'll probably clean up the neck probably in December.
They're saying you're a UA observer with 3 oak leaf clusters.
I've done my time. Yep. Yep. Completely. Ew. Anyway, all right, guys. This has been an absolute blast.
We were
So
talking
much
about
fun.
beards. I might have to, because I'm not sure what's going on with job stuff, so I might have to abstain. If I have to shave for a job interview, sorry about it. Sorry about your silly no shave November rules.
No one's gonna be mad at you.
Yeah, they will. People get mad at me for all kinds of shit.
Oh man.
They get more mad at you for not playing trailers.
Yes, Nick, I'm gonna look like the giant baby from Honey I Shrunk the Kids after I shave. Yes.
Is that your costume?
I have. Yes. Damn it. You tipped it away. You tipped it away. Yeah. So anyway, this has been a blast. Once again, no show next week. We're back November 1st with the Halloween episode. So send in your pictures for costumes. And the week after that, it's trailer. We're gonna come up with a name: Trailer Mayhem, Trailer something, Movie Madness,
Trailer Park Boys.
No. Anyway,
I got my Bubbles glasses on and everything.
It is obviously past Radar's bedtime because he's being all silly.
This Gatorade bottle.
Oh man. Hey, thanks, Nick. Appreciate the follow. Hope you had a good time. We got tons more fun. It's always gonna be a crazy time. Oh man, that's right. Family Feud too. Shit.
Oh yeah.
So the first is gonna be the Halloween episode. So that would make the 8th the trailer episode, which we'll have to throw in a trailer for Family Feud, I guess. And then the week after that, we'll be talking about it. So
they have like ancient ones on Sling. We got sucked into that the other night.
Yeah.
Like from like the 70s Family Feud.
Yeah. One where he would make out with every woman that was on.
Yeah, it was very creepy.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to that
like,
guy.
oh, nice to meet you.
Yeah. Let me lick your ear. This is great.
Anyway. All right, guys. It's past my bedtime.
Hands on.
Guys, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll have more amazing content, more giveaways, more interviews, more silliness and shenanigans, lots more trailers, except for Violent Night, and tons more coming up soon. And I have a huge announcement, just the biggest announcement that
Scott, Trailer Park Tuesday
will be coming soon. Yeah. I mean, not the Halloween episode, maybe the one after that. But
no, the one after that is Trailer Park Tuesday.
I'll drop a piece of knowledge on that. It's fine. It's fine.
You said only old trailers.
Okay, fine. Only trailers that day. Jesus. So
you said only old trailers. If we could have new trailers, it could be Violent Night.
Fine. Jesus Christ. Child.
Yeah, I win.
All right, guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks. November 1st, Halloween Spooktacular. We'll see you then. Send in your costume pictures. Say goodnight, Radar.
Night, Radar.
All right, guys. Shots.
Doc! Oh, no! We're too late! We missed it! Oh, jeez, this is heavy. Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Doc, I got a time machine. I'm just gonna punch in the coordinates. Pop Culture Warrior, Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on WTF Nation Radio. Now crank this bad boy up to 88 miles per hour.